praise the Most High God, Abraham, Isaac, and peace to everybody that's here in the name of Jesus. Peace to everybody who might be tuning in elsewhere online. It's good to be here. And been wanting to get here for, y'all been here about 3 months now, right?
So.
Yeah. But been wanting to get here, but when we first got this place, I had been in LA somewhere else. So Brother Nate came down at that time. And,
so speaker has to be.
So this is a good location. It's a good place. Because what we in the business of is evangelizing. So we're not in the business of just having, a church and being comfortable and trying to, like the average church, they have a church, grow a church, the preacher is good, he finds Mercedes Benzes, mansions, but Jesus said, go forth all over preaching the gospel. He said, go forth into all the world. And so that's the mission. So even being here, it's good that those that's been here a while are here, but the mission is get the lost sheep, people that still lost. So this is a good location to do it from, to branch out. To me, it's better than the last place he was at. It's kind of just a better location all around. Then it's out.
Amen.
That's worth the way to go. So ain't nobody gonna tell us to leave. Now I don't know what they did with that place over there, but they looked like the daycare bar and they were kicking everybody out to build a bigger daycare. So we're glad to be here, and we started the Sabbath last night. We had a lesson back in Gary titled "The Children Are the Future, Teach Them the Truth." Like I pointed out last night, there's no coincidence that the Lord blessed us to have now 2 schools. And Lord willing, we're going to have more than that. Lord willing. That's the goal. That's the plan. And if we get a bunch of babies down here, maybe have one down here. But that was last night. We got a lesson today. You got the hand out. Serve God, avoid distractions. We're going to start off in Deuteronomy 6. Deuteronomy 6 chapter, because a lot of people haven't understood that this whole thing is not about serving ourselves. It's not about what we want. The whole thing of the Bible is about serving God. It's about serving God. And that's really what people say, well, we go to church, we go to worship. Singing is good. I'm saying I ain't coming to the spot like that. Next to the rehearsal. But that's all good. Singing, praising is good. But true worship is every day, and it's how you live. It's a way of life. Right. It's how you serve God. It's about serving God. That's what the whole Bible is telling you. God wants you to follow His commands and what He's telling you, and therefore you are honoring Him, you are worshiping Him, and He's looking out for you. He's your God. So that's the title. Serve God. Then avoid distractions, because in the process of serving God, there's all kinds of things to deter you off of doing what God wants you to do. It's like the nature of the beast. It's going to be distracted. Every time you look around, it's something to distract you. That's why sometimes, and I've done it myself years ago, sometimes stuff come up in your life and you say, well, I don't feel like going to church today. I don't feel like going. That's because you got distracted. You let something knock you off your square, and now you're not doing what you're supposed to do when it comes to serving God. And I've done it myself. Like I said, it's been some time. It's been years ago. I remember I saw Brother Reese, brother, he still teaches at the one of God, Brother Stephen. I saw him a few weeks ago at this, Stevie was doing a concert. and I bumped into him, and he told me something a long time ago. I never forget it. This back in the 80s. I got knocked off my spot. I didn't go to church one Saturday. And, you know, it was a small crowd then, so if you wasn't there, everybody knew. Compared to how it is now with all the people that's coming into the truth. But the next Sabbath, he said, man, what's going on? Man, yeah, what happened? I missed you last week. I said, yeah, I was feeling bad. He said, yeah, I understand. I hear you. He said, you know what? God's going to turn me away. I ain't voluntarily not do what you're supposed to do. And I learned a lot from that statement that he told me. So that's the title. Serve God, avoid distractions. Deuteronomy 6. Deuteronomy 6. We're going to read one verse right here. Deuteronomy 6, verse 13. And we're actually going to come back here because I'm not even going to touch on them. Even right around these verses where we read, it shows you the distractions. But I just want to read one thing right now. Deuteronomy 6 and 13. Read that.
Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God and serve him,
Mm-hmm.
and shall swear by his name.
He said, thou shalt fear the Lord thy God. See, along the lines of serving God, what helps you, what makes it feasible for you to serve God, what really makes it give you some incentive when you learn to fear God. So that comes with it. He said, thou shalt fear the Lord thy God and serve him. We all know what serve means, but when it comes to God, we seem to forget that that's our duty. We seem to think, well, God is just going, I can kind of wing and do what I want to do, and I just want God to be there for me. You know, when I'm in a crunch, God, help me get out of this situation. Help me, God, help me. But you forgot that it's about you pleasing God first. God will look out for you. That's what he's saying. But that's the key. Serving him. That means doing what he said. We done got away from that. A lot of our churches have made it like a show, and you just come to church and you kind of go about your business the rest of the week. Then you come back to church, feel a little better about things, then you go about your week again. Not necessarily focused on serving God. That means you totally distracted things. That's the problem. So that's what he said, right? Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God. Fear go a long way, brothers and sisters. And serve him and shall swear by his name. We come back here later. Go to Luke 16, to the New Testament. And this is how you really learn how to serve God and worship God. It's through the pages of the Bible. He gave us a huge Bible that we won't learn everything in it until the end of the world. So that's why we need to be reading it all the time.
Yes, George.
Luke 16. Luke 16. It's like we're not going to read one of the scriptures we like to point out a lot. It's Ecclesiastes 12, 13, and 14. Some of the brothers and sisters probably know about heart. It says, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. What does it say? Fear God and keep his commandments. Conclusion of the whole matter. Then it went on to say, this is the whole duty of man. That includes one, that's mankind. So that's it. It's about fearing God and serving him. Look what Jesus said, because he gonna show you this. You be distracted right off. What's the number one distraction? Jesus gonna tell you here. Luke 16 and verse 13. Read that.
No servant can serve two masters.
No servant can serve. But you talking about being a servant of God, but then Jesus turn around and telling us no servant can serve two masters. Sometimes you have conflict on jobs because different bosses trying to tell you what to do. You like, and then you do something, somebody holler at you. Why you do that? What you do that for? Well, the other supervisor told me to do that. So that's kind of confusion right there. That's why usually if it's a smooth operating corporation, they have a protocol, chain of command where you don't get all that. But let alone you on a job and you trying to do stuff the way your old job did it, you trying to still possibly serve your old boss. No. So Jesus is warning us. He said, no servant can serve two masters. Go ahead.
For either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. He cannot serve God and mammon.
See, this really what he's talking about serving God. I just gave you the job as an example. He's talking about serving God. And he's talking about opposite ends of the spectrum when it comes to serving God. You're going to have something that will totally pull you away from serving. In this case, he used money. That's one of the number one distractions that people run into when it comes to serving God. And Jesus tells us you can't do both. So if you go to church somewhere, but you think it's your God-given right to have money, and God understands I just need to do anything. God knows you need money. But still, you can't make money of God. You can't make money of God. So in other words, you got to have your priorities straight. That's what Jesus told us in Matthew 6, seek ye the kingdom of God first. Everything else you need will be given to you. The Lord gonna take care of you. You don't have to sweat that. So, but why does he say that? Because we will be distracted with money. That's what mammon is. He said you can't do both. You automatic, and you say, well, I'm gonna serve God, but I tell you what, I'm gonna make. I want to make a lot of money so I can really help the ministry. I want to really help the ministry. Well, actually, you put money first. Because you just serve God, God give you money. But I've seen people do that, so that's kind of like a quick way to fool yourself. So now you folks, I'm going to make this money, and I'm going to donate a lot of money. And I tell people, look, don't worry about that. You need to figure out, focus on doing what God said. Don't worry about trying to make no money for the ministry. God's going to take care of it. See that? But that's a distraction. You see how that works? Go to Mark 4. Mark 4. Look at parable Jesus gave. We opened last night's lesson with how Jesus spoke in many parables, little riddles to give profound messages. Mark the 4th chapter. So that's the number one distraction. Money will have you off the square. When I was driving the truck, I had a lot of people, even in seniority, I had a lot of people under me that wanted to get overtime. We was making good money, but overtime that's real good money, right? But people under me, they couldn't wait for Saturday work came. Sabbath work. And they loved me because they said, well, Israel ain't gonna do it. You don't want it. So they behind me, they like, we know Israel don't want it because it go back to seniority. Israel don't want to get the overtime. Yeah, baby, we don't get that overtime. But I don't care nothing about no overtime when it comes to the Sabbath. You can't get no overtime on the Sabbath. You can have that. You can have that. Because serving God needs to come first. So that's an example. Mark 4 and verse 14. Mark 4 and verse 14. Go ahead and read that.
So and so of the word.
So this is a parable Jesus gave, and we cut into the chase of the interpretation of it. He gave a parable earlier in the chapter, and the disciples said, well, explain that parable to us. Break that down to us. Because he just gave a parable. What does the parable say? Well, a sower, a farmer, so to speak, went out planting seeds. That's what sowing is, planting seeds. So that's how the parable went from the beginning. You read on your own. He said a sower went out and he sowed some seeds. He's sowing seeds. He's sowing seeds in various places. And we don't see which seeds are productive. And he gave you 4 categories of the seeds that the farmer sowed. But when they said explain it to us, obviously we ain't really talking about no farmer out planting little seed. It's a parable. So when he started explaining it, he said, well, the seed that's being sowed, we talking about the word. So we already know that off the bat. The sower, he's sowing the word. That's what's being planted. That is the reality of this parable. The sower soweth the word. 15.
And these are they by the wayside, where the word is sown. But they that have heard, Satan cometh immediately and taketh away the word which is sown in their heart.
See, we like the kind of thing that you get with God, you hear about God, once you believe in God, oh, you just saved and you got faith. Look at the distractions and obstacles here so far at the beginning of this parable in getting with God. See, the Lord is keeping it real. He said, the sower soweth the word. So the word is being sown. That doesn't mean it's going to be effective in you. It's up to you how you receive the word. So he said, and these are they by the wayside. Because that was the first category, by the wayside, where the word is sown. And when they heard it, Satan coming immediately. Now, in the parable, he didn't say nothing about Satan. He didn't say nothing about the word. He just said sowing seeds. And he said the fowls came and devoured it. But the fowls were representative of Satan. So the fowls, just like in regular life. You know, I have turned over my grass before and planted new seeds, and they got things you can do to keep the birds from coming eating your seeds up. So before the grass grows, right? Because that's a parable that we can relate to. But he's not talking about literal seeds, that's literal dirt. He's talking about the word of God and the distraction with you hearing it and understanding it. He said, the sower soweth the word, and these are things by the wayside. Where the word is so. How do we get about wayside? Just like a farmer is going to plant some seed, and before he even get to the field, he on the way to the field, seeds just falling out. They just falling out all over the place. That's by the wayside. So people hear the word, but they still hear it. But then, before they can even really get a grasp of it and act on it, Satan comes and snatches. And right away, how do Satan come and snatch? Is Satan literally coming up somewhere, taking something? No. Satan works through people just like God do. Satan says somebody and say, I don't believe that, man. That's crazy. Why you go to church? They tell you to go to church on Saturday, we go on Sunday. That's an example. So somebody will be working for Satan. See that soul, that word won't affect you because Satan took it. That's what he said. These are they by the wayside where the word is sown, but when they have heard, Satan comes to take away the word that was sown in their heart. Number one distraction, verse 16.
And these are they likewise which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word, immediately receive it with gladness.
So I wasn't going to read all this, but we'll go ahead and do now. When they heard it, they immediately receive it with gladness, but go ahead.
And have no root in themselves, and so endure before a time. And afterwards, when affliction and persecution arise for the word's sake, immediately they are offended.
So they get distracted and fall off on the word because of persecution. You get persecuted for following God in a world that don't like God. Persecution and affliction arises for the word's sake. Because you're doing the word, people think you're crazy. You're doing what the word says. I started telling people now, years ago, I don't eat pork no more. What's wrong with you? There's no eat pork anymore. It's in the Bible. Think you something now, huh? No, it's just in the Bible. I don't do it no more. Had a long conflict visiting my aunt in Tennessee. I wouldn't even try to say that to this lady. I just came to say hi. And she wanted to give me some food, wanted to give me some bacon. I said, no, we don't. I don't eat bacon. I said, we don't eat bacon. I didn't want to get into it. I knew it wasn't going to go good for her. Right. So she pushed it, and I said, because it's in the Bible. We don't eat it because it's in the Bible. Oh, you know that. See, that's the Mosaic law. I said, you don't want this? It's wrong. But he tells you you're gonna run into conflict because of the word. That's the distraction. Where we at 18?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
These are they which are sown among thorns.
Okay, these are things which I saw the one thought. This is really what I want to get to, because that's real easy to understand. If you plant some grass seed and you got a bunch of thorns and weeds over in the corner, that's not really gonna work. That's not gonna work. And you might get a something spring up, but really the way to do it, you got to tear all that stuff out. And that's how our life is. You got to get rid of all stuff to make the word fit in your life. But you can do it. I've seen people to do it. I preach to people that I know personally, and I said to myself, as I'm preaching to them, I said, dang, I don't see how they can get this. I'm looking at them, I'm looking at how they live, I'm looking at everything they're doing. I said, this don't look good. But I'm like, what do I know? I just do my job. I just keep on preaching. And God has surprised me. And they got rid of the thorns and all the trouble. And they got with the word. Some of them still in the word to this day. So that's why you can't even go. You don't know the mind of God. We be looking at one thing, so it can be done. But it takes some work. Because we need to know it's all about serving God. So these are things which are sown among thorns. And what they do?
Such as hear the word.
Everybody hear the word. But the problem is, are you going to stick with it or let something take you away, distract you from it? They hear the word, and then what? 19.
And the cares of this world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things enter in, choke the word, become unfruitful.
See, the word don't benefit. Because you got too much other stuff you're more concerned about. You're distracted. You hear the word, but then you worried about this, you worried about that. Some people say, yeah, man, I like that. I'll be over there. And then I'll be like, yeah, I'll see. Because I already know how to go. I'll see. And then next thing, yeah, well, oh, man, it's okay. Oh, maybe next week. Yeah, something else will come up. It's going to keep on happening. That means you're doing what he said here. He said, the cares of this world, the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things. Enter in, choke the word, and it becometh unfruitful. So the word is not benefiting you. It's not having an effect in your life because it's getting choked out by other things. See, people act like coming to God is fresh so easy. You just got it made to easy, make keeping it real. Listen. He keeping it real. That's why the title is Serve God or Distract. You got to make up your mind. Look, I'm just going to do what the Lord said. You see your life would be much more peaceful. So that's what he's saying. It becometh unfruitful. Go ahead and read verse 20.
And these are they which are sown on good ground, such as hear the word, and receive it, and bring forth fruit. Psalm 34, Psalm 60, and Psalm 100.
Now, in the last category, the thorns choke the word. At verse 19, he said, it becometh unfruitful. In other words, it don't produce in your life because you got too much other junk that you're concerned with. But then, those that hear the word, and they get rid of all the distractions, and they knuckle down and start focusing on the Lord and serving the Lord, they produce fruit. They talking about, ain't talking about going out converting nobody, he's talking about fruit in your life. You stop doing things that's contrary to God. Why? Because you start serving him. You start serving him. I probably broke almost every commandment in the book. Used to do stuff, but when I got in the word, I had to stop. I used to steal. But the Bible said, he that stole, let him steal no more. So that's fruit being produced in my life, and so forth and so on. But now, go to 1 Corinthians 5. Again, serve God, avoid distractions. It's about serving God. And you're going to be tempted and distracted along the way, and you got to know that so you can overcome it. All kinds of stuff come up. Even when people start telling you stuff contrary to the word, even people they start telling you stuff, that's a distraction trying to get you off the point. I've seen people in the word for a little bit, keeping the Sabbath, doing what some of the things the Bible say. Then somebody come along and say, man, you know, so that, you know, and they tell them something real, one thing, they tell them something, you know, so look at this, they're not right about that. And then the people get distracted and they stop doing what God is telling them, what they knew was right over one little thing that didn't even make no sense. But that's the way Satan is going to come. 1 Corinthians 5 and 7. 1 Corinthians 5 and verse 7. Read that.
Purge out therefore the old leaven, that ye may be a new lump. Ye are unleavened.
So purge out the old leaven. This is good since we got the feast coming up in a couple of weeks. We got the Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread because that's a part of serving God. The world just got to celebrating Good Friday and Easter that don't have nothing to do with God, believe it or not. Don't have nothing to do with God. So he said, purge out therefore the old leaven. That's what we do when Feast of Unleavened Bread comes, we get rid of the leaven out of the house. But that's emblematic of serving God. That's what that is. You getting rid of all the stuff that's contrary to God. You cleaning house, so to speak. But the house is here, things that's contrary to God. Because that's the only way you can rightly serve God. You got to get rid of all the junk. That's what he's telling you, right? And pay attention, brothers and sisters, that this is in the New Testament where people say you don't have to do nothing. You ain't got to do nothing. Jesus did it all. No, you got to do nothing. Yeah, you ain't got it. Well, Jesus did it all. You can't do nothing anyway. Why is he telling you to do something? That doesn't make no sense. He's telling you to do something. He telling you, he said, and he's not talking about even though the feast, we keep it, we get rid of the leaven, he's talking about really what it means. He said, purge out there the old leaven, your old ways, the contrary to God, that ye may be a new lump as ye are unleavened. He didn't say we are Easter bunny. You unleavened.
Or even Christ our Passover is sacrificed for us.
See, Christ is our Passover. He didn't say nothing about Good Friday and Easter. Christ is our Passover. And we nowadays have been distracted from observing the Passover, honoring Christ, doing all this other crazy stuff. That's an example on how the world has got away from serving God. And they serving other stuff. They doing other stuff. Serving false God. You distracted. Somebody that fooled you and got you away from what this Bible is saying. It's right in your Bible. Everybody got a Bible. We doing something totally different. That's amazing. Right. That's what Satan is slick. See, he couldn't get rid of the Bible. God ain't gonna let him get rid of the Bible. God got the Bible to instruct you on how to serve God. And you turn around and listen to some three-card mockery. Anybody know about three-card mockery? That's how they fool you. They've been to trick you. You over here thought you had the Bible. They gave you Easter. That's in the Bible. That ain't in the Bible. Don't have nothing to do with God. But you've been distracted. That's how they do with three-card mockery. They even have some partners working over there. He be working with them. He bet first. He bet first. And then he win, and you be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna bet. That's it. But he was working with him. He let them win. They was working together. They distracted you. That's what he done when it comes to God. He said, purge out there for the old leaven, that you would be a new lump, as ye are unleavened, for even Christ, our Passover, died for us. He sacrificed for us. See, he died to give us this chance to get rid of that leaven. Passover comes in the Feast of Unleavened Bread right now. Go ahead, verse 8.
Therefore, let us keep the feast.
How we going to keep the feast?
Not with old leaven, neither with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth.
Oh, he's talking about the leaven. He's telling you what it represents. The leaven of malice and wickedness. He's telling you how to get rid of the distraction. Stuff that's contrary to God, get rid of it. Serve God, avoid distraction. He's telling you that, and he took a page out of Joshua. Let's go back to Joshua 24, all the way back to the beginning of the Old Testament, basically. Joshua 24. But when he says, purge out the old leaven, that you can be a new lump, even get rid of the leaven of malice and wickedness, that's telling you to serve God like He said, and get rid of all the additives, all the extra stuff that people came up with. That's what that's telling you. We at Joshua 24 now. Joshua 24. Joshua 24. And we're going to pick it up at verse 14. Joshua 24 and verse 14. Go ahead and read it.
Now therefore fear the Lord. Serve him in sincerity and in truth.
Everybody see that's the key part of serving the Lord. You got to learn to fear. Because if you don't fear him, you're going to figure I can do what I want to. That's the problem in our church. They've been taught that you should be afraid of God. You should fear God. But once you learn how dangerous God is, God hemmed you up some kind of way, and you know God has done it to you, then you start to understand the fear of the Lord. You start to understand what that means. And then you will know, look, God wants you to live a certain way. This is throughout the whole Bible. That's why Jesus said, though, you can't serve God in mammon. You can't be caught up in the distractions. So what did he say here? He said, therefore,
Fear the Lord.
fear the Lord. Now, therefore, fear the Lord. And here you go. And serve him. Serve him. How again?
In sincerity and in truth.
In sincerity and truth. That's really what Paul was saying. He said, we let us keep the feast, not with the leaven of malice and wickedness, but with the sincerity of the unleavened bread. That's what he's talking about. Same thing. See, people want to make you think you can just do God any kind of way. Oh, you know, I understand. You know your heart. Like, we just wing it with God. But these people knew better than wing it. They knew God would hurt you if you don't do what He wants you to do. He said, now therefore, fear the Lord and serve Him in sincerity and truth. And do what now? Here go the distraction that you got to get away from. Go ahead.
And put away the gods which your father served on the other side of the flood.
See, that's what you putting away the leaven represent. Put away the false God. Nobody tell us that something constitutes worshiping a false God. That's impossible now. So you can do anything. So they gave you Easter, Christmas. That was a false God.
Right.
Jesus, Lord didn't tell you to do it in the Bible. Jesus didn't tell you to do that. We just read Christ. Jesus is our Passover. He's the Passover lamb. He's not the Easter ham. He got nothing to do with it. So you got to figure it out. He said, now therefore, fear the Lord, serve in sincerity and truth. Put away the God. Easter, matter of fact, is worshiping a goddess. The goddess of fertility. That's what they tell you. I gotta look it up. They tell you what it's about, really. We've been beating them up with that. They started saying, well, you know, I call it resurrection. So they're still alive.
Right.
Still alive. He didn't even resurrect on Sunday. We can show you that. But people just come up with stuff to kind of keep serving them God. Let's just get away from it. It's not hard. If you're going to play with God, if you're going to mess around with God, you might as well try to do what He's saying. It's right in the Bible. Fear the Lord, serve in sincerity to put away God which your father served. So just because your mother did it, your father did it, they passed it down to us. I got Christmas passed down to me, but the buck stopped right there. I didn't pass it to my kids. My kids never celebrate no Christmas. I didn't keep doing what I got. Once I found out, I said, shoot, I found out young too, thank God. So I didn't give it to my children. They never celebrated. And they find it. They're not crazy because they didn't get a chance to celebrate Christmas. They are fine. But He told you, put away the gods which your father served. Where?
On the other side of the flood.
On the other side of the flood. Go ahead.
In Egypt.
And
serve ye the Lord.
And serve ye the Lord. But you see, it's a choice you got to make to serve the Lord. Serving the Lord is not just cutting dry, it won't come easy. No, you got to make the choice to serve the Lord and get away from the other stuff, the distractions. You got to make a conscious decision to do that. Keep reading.
Verse 15. And if it's then evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day on whom you will serve. Whether the God which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in whose land ye dwell. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
See, notice, because God not making nobody do nothing. God is telling you what you need to do. That's the beauty of God. He gonna let you do what you want to do. He ain't making you do nothing. He's telling you what you need to do. He's telling you what's good for you to do. But like Joshua said, do it how you want to. Choose what you want to do. Just understand, it's a reward that cuts both ways. He said, okay, I'm telling you, serve the Lord, but now if you don't want to do it, that's on you. He said, if it's thing evil you to serve the Lord, okay, choose who you want to serve this day. But let the record state you either serving the Lord or you serving a false God. That's what we need to understand. We can't fool ourselves no more to think we can serve God any kind of way. No. It wouldn't be called serving God. If you're doing something God didn't tell you to do, you serving somebody else. You got a boss that's telling you do this and do this and do this. And you got somebody from another company, maybe a competitor, and he gonna talk to you, say you shouldn't do it that way. But he trying to look out for his company. And you're gonna do what he say. Who are you serving? You ain't serving your boss, right? You serving the opposite. You serving the competitor. And he's gonna tell you to do stuff that's gonna help his business. That's the same thing. Either you serving God or you're not. That's what Joshua said. You choose who you're gonna serve. Verse 15 said, if it seems evil unto you to serve the Lord, okay, choose you this day who you to serve. Whether the gods that your fathers say you want to do what your parents did,
Right.
that's okay. You got that option. But you gonna answer. Whether the gods that your fathers served on the other side of the flood, or it's gods everywhere, false. Or the gods of the Amorites in whose name you dwell. But then he said, this is a famous verse, but people don't take it to heart. He said, but as for me and my house, I got a plaque with this. That's how famous it is. They make plaques with this all the time, but don't nobody let it resonate that we really supposed to be serving God. What did he say? As for me and my house, we will what?
We will serve the Lord.
We will serve the Lord. That's the way we all should be thinking. But go ahead, verse 16.
And the people answered and said, God forbid that we should forsake the Lord, serve other gods.
See, they understand it. They say, okay, we with it, Joshua. God forbid that we do that. Go ahead.
For the Lord our God, He it is that who brought us up and our fathers out of the land of Egypt for the house of bondage. And we did those great signs, and which did those great signs in our sight.
So they recognize that God did that for them, right? They said, okay, man, look, Joshua, we gonna serve the Lord because God did all this for us, and this is what God do for us, even in the business. He ain't bring us immediately. He hasn't brought us out of Egypt, but even in the business, He done brought us out of different situations. And you don't know God put you in situations. He let you get in situations so you'll come to Him. He know you're gonna come to Him. He gonna tell you up there. You gonna be like, God, oh, please, God. And then you gonna know that you ain't been doing right. And we be making all kinds of promises to God when we get jammed up. Oh God, if you get me out of this, I'm gonna do right. I ain't gonna do that stuff no more. And then we get out of trouble and forget about God. So they realize, look, we need to honor God because He done all this for us. He's the one who brought us out of Egypt. He brought us from being slaves in Egypt. And so we don't serve the Lord. What verse you at?
Verse 17.
Go ahead, finish.
And preserve us in all the way wherein we went, and among all the people through whom we passed. And the Lord drave us out from before us all the people, even the Amorites which dwelt in the land. Therefore we will also serve the Lord, for He is our God. Joshua said unto the people, ye cannot serve the Lord.
Now this is what you call trying to chide. He chided with them a little bit. But what he's doing, brothers and sisters, is letting them know that serving God is not a game. You can't play around and just talk it through. See, a lot of people want to talk God. They want to give lip service to God. But now he's letting you know that you can't play with it. So if you don't have your mind made up that you're gonna do what the Lord say do, you're gonna have a problem. Because why? What's the title of the lesson? Serve God, avoid yourself. You're gonna get all kind of exit signs for you to escape doing what God said to do. So it's not Lord, I just go over here. Okay, that means you ain't gonna serve God. So Joshua is letting them know this is not a game. So he said, ye cannot serve God. He don't mean absolutely you can't serve him. He like, look, you can't be playing to serve God. He said, ye cannot serve God, but I'm gonna let you know God is not playing with you all. Go ahead.
For he is an holy God.
He's a holy God. Go ahead.
He is a jealous God.
He's a jealous God. Go ahead.
He will not forgive your transgression,
Uh-huh.
nor your sin.
Uh-huh.
If you forsake the Lord and serve strange gods,
He said, look, I'm telling you, don't think this is a game. If you forsake the Lord and serve strange gods, God will hurt you. I'm gonna tell you now. This is what he said. Go ahead.
then he will turn and do you hurt
He gonna turn around and hurt you bad. Go ahead.
and consume you after he hath done you good.
Even after he blessed you and did some good to you, and you go back doing him, he turn around and slap you upside the head real quick. God gonna be playing. Go ahead.
And the people said unto Joshua,
And the people turn around, what they say?
nay, that we will serve the Lord.
They said, we hear you, Joshua. That's why we know we don't serve the Lord. And actually they did. For that generation, we read about that last night. They actually did. They understood the implications of it. They said, no, Joshua, we don't do it, man. We get it. We get it. Go ahead.
And Joshua said unto the people, ye are witnesses against yourselves, that ye have chosen you, the Lord, to serve him. They said, we are witnesses.
They said, okay. They said, good. We witness. We ain't playing. We know it's serious. That's what we got to understand how serious it is, brothers and sisters. Go ahead.
Now therefore put away, said he, the strange God which are among you, and incline your heart unto the Lord God of Israel. The people said unto Joshua, the Lord our God will we serve. His voice we will be obeyed.
See, you see how simple it is? You got to make up your mind to serve the Lord and get rid of all the distractions. Now, therefore, put away, said he, the strange gods which are among you, and incline your heart unto the Lord God of Israel. That's really, don't you know, that's really what Paul was saying to the Corinthians? He said, but he just said, according to the priest, put away the leaven. Put away the leaven. He was still talking about the same thing. You got to do this thing like God said. You can't be doing other stuff. That's somebody who added that telling you it's about God. Go ahead, 24. Did you read that already?
Yeah, I read it again.
Okay.
And the people said unto Joshua, the Lord our God we will serve, and his voice we obey.
25.
So Joshua made a covenant with the people that day. He set them the statute and the ordinance and teaching.
So they understood. You know what came? It was how serious it was. Go to 1 Kings 18. Let's look at one of the greatest prophets Israel had. 1 Kings 18. 1 Kings 18. First Kings 18. We're going to pick it up at verse 17. And again, we're going to see it's always an option for us, brothers and sisters, to do something other than serve. It's always an option. And we got to make the right choice. 1 Kings 18, verse 17. Go ahead.
It came to pass, when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubled Israel?
Go ahead.
And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou hast followed Baalim.
So now this never ceases to amaze me, and this is what you got to understand. This is what we read about when Jesus said, affliction and persecution going to rise because of the word. You can and will be offended. So now this is one of the great prophets. He recognized as one of the greatest prophets. But look at what he had to experience. This is actually the king over the people. And he come up on the king, and the king pointed the finger at him. See, you the problem. You know why he thought it was a problem? Because he was reprimanding them about serving God. So he seemed like the prophet. And not only was he reprimanding the king and the whole nation about serving God, how they need to serve God, he was telling them, and because you all won't serve God, God gonna curse y'all with drought. And it ain't gonna rain. And it wouldn't rain. He was mad. He was mad. You know, because he figured he the problem. He ain't letting it rain. But God is in control of that. I'm just telling you what God doing. But you see, this man did miracles. He's a well-known prophet. But did he get the proper respect from the king at this time? No. Verse 17 said, and it came to pass with Ahab, he's the king. But he's a wicked king. He saw Elijah. Now he's a prophet of God. But did he get treated with respect? Ahab said, art thou he that troubleth Israel? You around here messing things up. And Elijah responded, read that again, 18.
And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, and that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord. Thou hast followed them. Now therefore sin, and gather to me all Israel to Mount Carmel, and the prophet of Baal 450, the prophets of the grove 400.
All kind of false prophets. Go ahead.
Which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent unto all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt ye between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, follow him. And the people answered him not a word.
Okay, so now notice this right here. Elijah, after his little confrontation with the king, with Ahab, he said, man, you the problem. You don't want to obey God. That's what he told Ahab. He said, I have trouble in Israel, you and your father's house. In that y'all have forsaken keeping God's commandments. You have forsaken serving the Lord, and you following a false God. Amen. So that's the problem. That's why you have a problem. See, they want to blame the man of God for the problems because he's the one telling them you're going to have problems for not doing what God said to do. They want to blame him. So he said, matter of fact, send all them false prophets on your payroll. Send them down here to meet me. I want to face off against them. He all by himself. And he said, it's about 800 of them. That's a whole lot. It's like you got a lot of preachers now. 99% of them liars. Send them to the pulpit liars. Because they're not telling us to serve God. They tell us we pretty much do what we want to. Even Jesus said, we read it. Jesus said, you can't serve God and money. Talking about money. You got preachers talking about you supposed to have money. You should have that money. You know that. Talking about houses and stuff. Nothing wrong with how you need money. We know that. But let's keep it real. Money is not going to save you. You can't make money your priority. Yeah, that's what they preach. Get money. You want a house. You should have that house. Like that's something that God is automatically promising you. So you focus on the man instead of pleasing God. Please God. He's going to give you everything you need and some things you want.
That's
Just serve him. So that's what Elijah telling them. So gather these false prophets and down here to meet me, and also all the people. So he came up at verse 21. Read that one more time, because Ahab did what he said. He gathered about 400 of them. But Elijah told the people, what is 21?
And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt ye between two opinions?
See, look, he said, how long are you going to halt? That means we try to straddle the fence sometimes. That's what halt means. Well, I'm kind of in the middle, I ain't going too far that way. Look, you got to choose what you're going to do. That's what Joshua said. Choose this day who you're going to serve. Make up your mind. Make up your mind. That's like being lukewarm. The Bible warned you that in Revelation. Jesus said, he said, I don't want you to be lukewarm. Be cold or hot. Make up your mind. You going to do it. If not, I'm going to get you for being lukewarm. That's what Elijah said. How long halt you between two opinions? If the Lord be God, follow him. That means like serve him. But if Baal, you want to serve this false God, like Sunday worship, Christmas and all that stuff, that's the same thing that he's talking about here. Then, okay, go ahead and follow that. But know for sure you ain't serving this God, the God of this Bible. He said, if Baal, then follow him. And the people didn't even say nothing. Go ahead, verse 22.
Then said Elijah unto the people, even I only remained a prophet of the Lord.
Now, there was a few more people tucked away, but he was on Front Street by himself. Go ahead.
But Baal prophets are 450 men.
Now, and he went and he ended up dealing with him, had a contest with him, and he crushed them because they was false. 450 of them at one time. And he gave him a face off. He told him, look, y'all call him, y'all God, I'm gonna call on the Lord. We're gonna see who wins. And he won. He got rid of their butt. But it still was mess following that. Jezebel started threatening him and all of that. But you see, even he had distractions. He had to deal with these false prophets. Now let's go to the New Testament and look at Jesus himself. Or an example of Jesus. This Hebrews 12. It's not Jesus himself, but the writer will tell us about Jesus. And in turn, he's going to tell us that we need to use these things for an example to make sure we stay committed to serving God. That's what it's about, brothers, is serving God. Hebrews 12 and 1. Go ahead and read that.
Wherefore, seeing we also are compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which do so easily beset us.
Again, this is the New Testament, and we still are getting reminded we need to focus hard on pleasing God. We get reminded of it. So much that Jesus died, and we don't have to do nothing. He did it all, right? So much of that, brothers and sisters, that is, as we used to say when I was coming up, that is tired and stinking. Jesus did it all, and we don't have to do nothing. Why? If Jesus died by the time this was being written, it's back in heaven, and he's still telling us, do what you're supposed to do. Wherefore, seeing we also pass by with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which do what?
Easily beset us.
Which easily trip you up. That's a distraction. If you let it, it'll trip you up. Keep reading.
And let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
Oh, you got to run with patience the race. You're in a race. That's what serving God is. You're working on something. Go ahead.
Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.
See, he preaching Jesus. But he's not preaching to Jesus that did everything he don't have nothing to do. He said, let us run this race. And then look to Jesus for help. And even as a great example. Looking at Jesus, and Jesus, who again? The author and finisher of our faith. The beginning and the end, go ahead.
Who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of God, the right hand of the throne of God.
You mean Jesus, he had to endure some stuff? He didn't do it get nailed to the tree. He had to overcome. And we need to look at that. So when we get bumped around and with the potential of being knocked off from serving God, we can look at that as some motivation. That's what he's going to tell you, verse 3. Go ahead.
For consider him that endures such contradictions of sinners against himself, lest ye be weary and faint in your mind.
Oh, you need to consider what Jesus went through. And not even just Jesus. Look at what Elijah went through. How he had to face off against some false prophets, a bunch of, and tell them, look, y'all not serving God. Y'all serving a false God. And to the competition to try to challenge him. That's some of these false prophets be grace and be lying to their teeth. But they think that they're gonna never catch up with them. They think, they can holler one thing, you could be hollering something else, and we all just holler. Now, eventually you're gonna have to answer. So, but from our standpoint, we got to overcome the obstacles, even of people coming against us, telling us, no, you're not right. Like the king told Elijah, you trouble Israel. So the Bible is telling us, he said, for consider him, Jesus, that what? That had all the money in the world and you should be like him? No, consider him that endured such contradictions of sinners against him. Jesus had people argue with him tooth and nail, and then they killed him. Argue with him, and this man was God. He said, consider him that endures the contradictions. And why do we need to consider him? He said, lest you get weary in your mind. That lets you know you got straight up distractions that will knock you off. People coming at you will knock you off if you don't pay attention. That's why the title is Serve God Avoid Distraction. Go ahead. Verse, because it even get to the point of bloodshed. Verse 4.
You have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin.
See, he said you haven't resisted, you haven't had to go that route. Go to Ephesians 6 right quick. See, Paul even give you a good example here about how serving God is like going to war and you got to arm yourself. You got to put on armor going to war. Just like some of us played sports, we played football, you had to put on equipment to go out and play football. That's what he's like it here. Ephesians 6, but this is spiritual war here. That's what serving God is. You are in a battle to keep doing it. Maybe a couple too. Y'all pass those up. Wait. We had Ephesians 6. Verse, I'm going to get Martha email this Ephesians 6 and verse 13. Go ahead, because this is, I'm going to get to this about Calvin. There'll be a little controversy about it. Just to break some stuff down once this is over with. Ephesians 6 and verse 13. Go ahead.
Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that you may be able to withstand in the evil day. Having done all to stand. Stand therefore.
So you got to be girded for this battle, brothers and sisters, to serve God. So all of this letting us know that serving God, doing what God wants us to do, don't come easy. Jesus showed you, even with the parable of the sower, all kind of obstacles will knock you off. You get trapped among the thorns. And the word will help you. Because you have other priorities distracting you. So this is what he tells us. He said, take unto you the whole armor of God that you can stand and that you can make it through this battle of enduring, serving God and enduring. Go ahead.
Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth, having on the breastplate of righteousness.
See, you got on all kind of armor, but it's spiritual armor. Stand therefore, having your loins girded about with truth and having the breastplate of righteousness. You're doing right. 15.
Your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace.
Uh-huh.
Above all, take the shield of faith.
Oh, you need a shield too. You know what you use a shield for. You see some of the movies, they have shields to do what? To block stuff coming at you. You gotta block some stuff. You mean stuff gonna be coming at me just for doing right? Is that? Elijah had stuff coming at him. People pointing to you the problem. Not you the problem. That's right. And we got proof to know who the problem is. So he said, take the shield of faith. What you gonna do with that shield?
Wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked.
You mean the devil got people shooting darts at us? Exactly. That's what he just talked about. He's like, consider him that can do all this contradiction of sinners. Again, some stuff. See, it ain't nothing. See, the devil not gonna leave you alone and let you just serve God in peace. You gonna have to end it. You gonna have to, in a manner of speaking, go to war to serve God. That's why I'm trying to serve God. Don't get knocked off. But that's what the aim is. That's what the devil is doing. He said, above all, take the shield of faith with you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. Let's go on to Deuteronomy 7. Let's show you the simple distraction, brothers and sisters. See, so we can talk general, we can talk in general terms, but every now and then we need to get specific and get the real, what it really looked like, some real examples. Even stuff that's okay can be a distraction if you're not doing it right. So, for instance, marriage. That's the big thing in everybody's life. Marriage, right? Most people don't know that can distract you from serving God if you marry the wrong person. That can distract you. So you have to know that. That's why the Bible said don't be unequally yoked together with unbelievers. So you have to be careful with that. Type, serve God, avoid distraction. It's a blessing when people, a married couple, are on one accord when it comes to serving God. That's a big, couples fight about a bunch of things. I be counseling, I know. They be fighting about all kinds of stuff. Stuff don't even make no sense. It ain't even about nothing. They forgot to fight. They fight about the fight. They ain't even fight. They ain't even. What happened to start? Oh, we don't know. I don't remember what happened. All I know is he said this, he said that. But what actually happened at first? We forgot. You fighting about the fight. But it's a blessing when couples are on one accord when it comes to God, because you fight about that. Fight about money. That's the number one. That's why God actually told his people this in Deuteronomy 7:1. Go ahead.
When the Lord thy God shall bring thee in the land whither thou goest to possess it, and have cast down many nations before thee, the Hittites, and the Gerashites, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, 7 nations greater and mightier than thou.
It's on their way to the promised land. The Lord said, I'm going to cast these nations out so y'all can take over the promised land. All these people black. Israel was black, of course. Moses and the Israelites. And the people they was casting out was black. Because all black people not the same, just like all white people not the same. Different nationalities on both sides. So these were Canaanites who the Lord was casting out. So my point is, it don't have nothing to do with race. Sometimes we look like it's a black and white. There ain't no black and white thing. It's about serving God or not. And that's the problem here. Or the potential problem. He said, when I cast these nations out, that's greater money than it. Where you to?
And when the Lord thy God shall deliver them before thee, thou shalt smite them and utterly destroy them. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor show mercy unto them.
The Lord wanted to start fresh with them in the land. But then he was going to leave some of them. He told them that in other places. He wasn't going to kill them all. He was going to leave some of them. And what did he tell you about the ones that was left? Verse 3.
Neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Wait a minute. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Now, again, it's not a color thing because all these people black. So it don't have nothing to do with color. What does it have to do with? It has something to do with the title of the lesson. Serve God. So being that these people didn't know God, didn't know how to serve God, they will mess you up if you get entangled with them in that and stuff. They mess you up. But the real point of this, how important it is, how serious God is about you serving Him. He said, neither shalt thou make marriages with them.
Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son.
Don't let your daughter marry his son. And even that's good to this day. That's good to this day. Why would you marry somebody who don't know God? Or why would I want my daughter and encourage my daughter who was raised knowing God to marry somebody that's Roman Catholic? That's going to be a conflict.
Big time.
Or that's even Muslim. That's going to be a conflict. So I would encourage against that. Because that's the fight coming in the door. Especially if everybody real staunch in what they believe. But if you know the real God, you definitely don't want to do that because God's going to hurt you. He said, neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give to his son. Go ahead.
Nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son.
Nor his daughter should you take unto your son. Don't let your son marry his daughter. Why? Verse 4.
For they will turn away thy son from following me.
Oh, this is the reason why. It's all about serving God. This is what it's about. God just don't want people to marry people because of color or because of the way you look. No, they will turn away your son from following me. This is what God is concerned with. Go ahead.
That they may serve other gods.
And they going to serve other God. Something got to constitute serving other God here, right? Yeah. Even if you're serving God, well, guess what? You're serving another. And it's really easy to see. All you got to do check. The Bible says, examine yourself. So if I'm doing something and I think it's about God, I have to be able to read it, brothers and sisters. But they were talking about them to follow me that they may serve other gods. And then, what God gonna think about that? Go ahead.
So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you and destroy these sons.
Don't nobody know this guy. And most people wouldn't understand this is Jesus back here. Jesus been around. He didn't start with that. He just became a man. This is Jesus talking. But now, go to 1 Corinthians 7. We'll come back. We're going to go to 1 Corinthians and put a bookmark there. 1 Corinthians 7. That's the Paul knew about this. So in essence, I'm a servant of God, and I get entangled marrying somebody who don't have a clue about God. That's definitely a distraction. Now, I've seen people overcome that because it's kind of different. That's why Paul said, well, in this same chapter we read, we ain't gonna read all that. If you married and you found out about God, and you with somebody, obviously neither one of y'all knew about God. And now you found out, then be a little patient. Maybe your husband will come along. Maybe your wife will come along. Be a little patient and work with that. But that's the tough situation, Steve.
Yes.
But that's the benefit. That's the problem with you not knowing God in the first place. So just say two unbelievers married. They both unbelievers. They in false religion, serving false God. Okay, but God, we out here preaching to people. God trying to bring them out. So this happened all the time. So the wife ended up hearing the word. She hear the word, and she started trying to tell her husband, he don't want to hear that. No, I didn't sign up for this. So that's going to be a tough thing. But Paul said, try to make it work, and maybe your husband come around, and vice versa. 1 Corinthians 7 and 8. 1 Corinthians 7 and verse 8. Go ahead.
I say therefore to the unmarried and widow, it's good for them if they abide even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry. It's better to marry than to burn.
Okay, wait a minute. Now, what is he talking about? See, Paul didn't have a wife. He was what you would call a union. Or what people, they make a whole groups of people say they got to be celibate. So Paul was that way, but that ain't something that you can force on everybody. Right. That's why he even said, do it if you can, right? That's what let you know that's a falsehood being telling all the priests they got to be celibate. What if they can't? What we gonna do then? We gonna make them do it anyway. Okay, then what? You gonna be messing with little boys? All kind of mess. Because you forcing something that was not meant to be. So it's if you can handle it. Everybody can't handle it. So he said, I say therefore to the unmarried, it is good for them to abide and stay unmarried no more. But why is he even saying that in the first place? Because he knows you're going to run into some potential distress. You can just focus on the Lord. And that's what and really, if you're unmarried, you got to get used to that. Get used to yourself before, even if you're going to marry later, get used to yourself. Just get used to that. Because if you're sitting there thinking about having a spouse all day long, hey, that's going to be agonizing in itself. Because I think that's what I'm married. It's good for them to day about even this our first time.
But if they cannot contain, let them marry. It's better to marry than to burn.
He said, but if you can't handle it, then you need to find you one. Get married. Because it's better to marry than to burn. If you get the fornicating and stuff, then you're going to be in deep trouble with God. Go ahead, verse 10.
And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband. But if she depart, let her remain unmarried.
Oh, that's some tough stuff. See, that's why some people be agonizing because they single. And then they get married, then they agonize them more. They be like, I don't want to be in it. Yep, you should stay unmarried. Try to tell you. Now you want to get away. So that's why he said you should really think long and hard about doing it. But if you do it, he's letting you know up front, you stuck like Chuck. You stuck. He said, look, but unto the married I command. He said, let me command it, really. But the Lord commanded, let not the wife depart from her husband. So women get married, and they get married at the drop of a dime. And we already know you shouldn't even marry certain people.
Right.
Even women in the truth sometimes do this. Then they be wondering why they catch it. But you did what the Lord said don't do. He said don't marry people that's not serving God. That's going to be a problem. So you'd done that. You'd married somebody who don't know the Lord, and then you wondering why you catching headaches all the time. Why you got a problem? He said he already told you. But then he said, and if you marry, let not the wife depart from her husband. Don't leave your husband. But then he said, but and if she depart, because you know it's always some extenuating circumstance. He called her, well, he just crazy. He do this, he do that, he do that. He tried to make me jump off the building. He did that. So, okay. Well, he didn't give you out. He said, but if you depart, stay on that. Then we're gonna be trying to say it. Like, oh, I don't know, he ain't that bad. Because they be ready to move on. They be ready to move on with somebody else. And he's telling you it don't work like that. This is serious stuff. But if she depart, let her remain unmarried. Go back to that crazy man you married in the first place. Be reconciled to her husband. And what should he do?
Let the husband, and let not the husband put away his wife.
And don't divorce your wife. Don't put her away. That's the law. The Lord been against that. Let not the husband put away his wife. But now skip down to verse 29. Because again, this is serve God. Avoid distraction. That's why he's giving you this information. Verse 29. Go ahead.
But this I say, brethren, the time is short, and it remaineth that both they that have wives be as though they had none.
See, he said time is short. We're nearing the end. We need to be focused on the Lord. And it's even so much work to do for the Lord. He said, you can have a wife and it'd be like you don't have none because you focus on the Lord at times.
Right.
You taking care of the Lord's business. Like a lot of the brothers here travel away from their wife because they working for the Lord. So that comes with territory. Skip to verse 35 and read that.
And this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare.
He said, I'm telling you all this is for your profit. I ain't trying to mess you up because he says some tough stuff. Right. Like, don't get married. If you can have it, just stay unmarried. And then if you get married, you stuck in marriage. He said, I ain't trying to really, make you stumble. I'm just trying to help you. This is a profit for you. I know it's tough. He said, this I speak for your own profit, not that I may cast a snare upon you, but what?
But for that which is coming.
Coming mean good. And what?
That he may attend upon the Lord without distraction.
Oh, exactly what we talk. He said, I'm telling you all that stuff so that you can focus on the Lord. You can attend upon the Lord without distraction. That's why I'm telling you this stuff I'm telling you. That's why we got this lesson. Serve God, avoid distraction. We're going to come back to Corinthians, put a marker there. Go to Matthew 26. We're going to come back to 1 Corinthians, actually the 10th chapter. But we're going to go to Matthew 26 and look at the master himself. That's why the Bible lets you know it's a fight serving God. It's a fight to stay on task to God. People want to make it easy. Oh, I got saved. Look, if you were saved, there wouldn't be no fight. Saved is a process. See, I'm saved. I'm saved from my past sins and the past life I used to live. I'm saved for that. But I'm automatically got an entrance into the kingdom. No, it's a fight to the finish on that. Paul said, I run the race, I fight the fight, lest after I decrease to others, I can be a castaway. I myself, 1 Corinthians 9. You read that on your own time. It's a fight to the finish. He said, fight the good fight. It's a fight. It's not meant to be easy. Jesus gonna make it plain. Matthew 26:38. Go ahead.
Then said he unto them, my soul is exceedingly sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And then he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, Not as I will, but as thou wilt.
He said, nevertheless, though Jesus was struggling so much, he knew he had a tough job. He had to come, being God, become a man, deal with crazy people all his life, and then come time to the end, and he had to let them kill him. And he started having some thoughts about that. Who wouldn't really? Especially a temple death like that. They're going to nail you to a tree. Like, I'll tell you my mind. Can we just do something else? Plan B. So that's what he asked him for. Because he knew that he started feeling that. He started feeling the pain of that already. He said, look, he told the disciples to pray with him. Verse 38, he said, then said he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrow unto death. Tarry here. He said, wait here and watch with me. That means pray with me. I'm going to be praying. Y'all pray too. Because I'm going through it right now. And then he said, verse 39 said, he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed and said, oh, my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, I'm still leaving it in your hand. But if I got to say so about it, let's do something different. I ain't feeling this get nailed to this tree.
Right.
Verse 40.
He come up to the disciples, find them asleep, and said unto Peter, what? Could he not watch with me 1 hour?
He said, y'all can hang with me 1 hour. They went to sleep. The Lord is about to show us that sometimes you could be sleeping at the wrong time. You know that? You could be sleeping. He said, they went to sleep. He said, what? Y'all couldn't watch with me 1 hour? I'm going through the toughest time. I'm asking you to pray. Y'all up here nodding. Couldn't watch with me. Up there. Watch with me 1 hour. Then he said what in verse 41? This is what we want to get. Go ahead.
Watch and pray.
Watch and pray, he said. He didn't say just pray either, right? He said, look, you got to stay on point with this. Because serving God comes with a lot of obstacles. If you're not paying attention, you're going to be stumbling all over. Watch and pray. That what?
Ye enter not into temptation.
Oh, that you enter not into temptation.
Spirit indeed is willing. The flesh is weak.
See, you can be half the mindset that you want to do right, but if you're not watching and praying, you'll still fall.
That's right.
You'll still stumble and fall. Watch and pray to get an honor to temptation. This is Jesus talking. If this is not a warning, I don't know what it is. You got to do everything you can to do what the Lord wants you to do. Watch and pray to get an honor to temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. You get caught up in your flesh in a moment, you've been polluted mission. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians 10. 1 Corinthians 10. 1 Corinthians 10. First Corinthians 10, we're going to pick it up at verse 1. 1 Corinthians 10 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Moreover, brother, I would not that you should be ignorant how that our fathers were under the cloud and all passed through the sea.
Talking about back in Moses' time, all the way back at the Red Sea. So the point he's going to make right quick is that our forefathers was with God. Moses was the intercessor. They was back there with God. They were under the cloud and they went through the Red Sea. They had God. God was instructing them, showing them how to serve him. And then they didn't stick with it. They messed up. So in other words, they got detoured. They got distracted. That's what he's going to tell them. He's going to show how they was with God all the way. God was right there. Fed them, everything. Go ahead, verse 2.
And were all baptized unto Moses.
And even got baptized. When they went through the Red, that's the form of baptism, he's telling them. Unto Moses. Moses was the intercessor like Jesus. He was just like Jesus. Sign of Jesus. Go ahead.
The cloud and in the sea.
Uh-huh.
And did all eat the same spiritual meat.
They got fed spirit. They got the word. Go ahead.
Did all drink the same spiritual drink.
That's that spiritual drink. Spiritual meat. That's the word. Go ahead.
For they drank of that spiritual rock that followed them. That rock was Christ.
Oh, Christ was back there. Yeah. Feeding them. Spiritual meat. Giving them the word. That's why he fed them with manna so they could focus on the word. Go ahead.
But with many of them, God was not well pleased.
Oh, yeah. Still didn't follow through. They got distracted in the wilderness, worried about the meat. He giving them manna. They will want the manna, wants some meat. You gonna sin against God because you so hungry for some meat. You gonna eat again. Don't worry about it. Just like if you fast, fasting is good. But if you fast, you seem like when you fast, you ain't gonna never eat again. I had to tell myself, you gonna eat again, boy. You gonna get something to eat. You can lose that stomach. But that's the way it be feeling. So they got distracted. He said, well, many of them God was not real pleased what happened to them.
But they were overthrown in the wilderness.
They got overthrown in the wilderness, he said. Go ahead.
Now, these things were our example to the intent that we should not lust after evil things. And they also lusted.
See, that was an example for us. That we shouldn't get caught up in lust after evil things. That's an example for us. Go ahead.
Neither be ye idolaters.
Oh, you can't commit idolatry today? No. They did it back then. It didn't work. It's not going to work today. Easter, people just got to celebrate. It's idolatry. Go ahead.
Some of them, as it is written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play.
Keep going.
Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, and fell in one day 320,000.
Oh, they committed fornication. You read Numbers 24, 25. They went out and slept with the Moabite women. They went to worship their God. That was fornication. And the Lord killed the one time on the spot. Go ahead.
Neither let us tempt Christ.
See, all this stuff is warning us this is not a game. Either you're going to serve God or you're not. You got to figure it out. Clearly, the Bible is telling you to serve. And you know how you serve? Keep His command. Neither let us commit fornication, right? Go.
Neither let us tempt Christ.
Neither let us tempt Christ. Verse 9, yeah.
And some of them also tempted and were destroyed of the serpent.
And he sent serpents and they bit him. Read Numbers 21 on that. All this stuff he getting from the Old Testament. And let you know the New Testament that we read the Old. Go ahead.
Neither murder ye.
Even murder will get you in trouble. You know, people just start talking. They ain't got no answers to nothing. Just don't like nothing. Everything wrong. They do this wrong, this wrong. But you ain't trying to fix nothing. You ain't trying to help nothing. That's what I learned from my teacher years ago. I used to sit there. The good thing about me, I was quiet. I be thinking stuff was wrong, but I wouldn't say nothing. I couldn't figure it out. I could put my foot in my mouth too. But I don't like that thing. So I would sit there and look. But I'm thinking. And it's like all of a sudden I hear the teacher saying, well, if you think something stupid, do something about it. Help, do something. And that's how I got involved. I said, look, I thought maybe things over here could be done better, things could be done better. Okay, well, I'm going to help out. That could be done. Even if it's mopping the floor, I'm going to help out. I'm going to do something to help out. And keep you from getting entangled in a lot of murmuring about stuff. Oh, this not right. Oh, this not right. We had a brother staying in the church free for months. He stayed free because he was on hard times. We tried to help him out, and we had space we made to house people. We had him staying there, and he started murmuring when he left. He started murmuring, I didn't even fix the donut. Bro, you should have fixed the donut. He was staying really free for months. True story. But this is how people just get caught up in murmur. I think having a ball, they gonna fix the donut. Probably because he was housing you for months. Stuff breaking, the donut gonna get fixed up. We're just looking for something, right? But he warned us. He said, neither murmur. You mean murmuring gets you in trouble with God? Exactly. Because it's a distraction. Get you off track. Neither murmur ye as what?
Some of them also murmured. Destroyed of the destroyer.
And they were destroyed of the destroyer for murmuring. Go ahead, keep reading.
And all these things happened unto them for our example.
Now, that's an example for us. It's not just for back then. And we don't have to be concerned with it. No, that's a clear-cut example for us. Go ahead.
And they are written for our ammunition.
It's ammunition for us. Go ahead.
Upon the ends of the world are come.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth take heed lest he fall.
Oh, that's the profound verse right there. Let him that thinketh he standeth, he said, take heed lest he fall. So much for thinking, presto, I got it made. This don't sound like you got it made. It sounds like you're on your way. You got to keep watching out. Like Jesus said, watch and pray. He said, wherefore let him that thinketh he standeth, take heed lest he fall. You can't get relaxed in this, in other words. Stir God, avoid distractions. Go ahead.
They have no temptation taking you.
And you can't even blame the temptation. You know, I was like that. I used to think, when I converted to the word, started trying to do what the Lord said do, I said, oh, I'm just messed up. I don't know if I'm gonna make this. I really thought that. Because, you got bad habits, and you start trying to work on them bad habits, which a lot of men in this society, the number one bad habit is fornicating with women. Nah, I guess they fornicate with women, they got double trouble. I ain't had that problem. I just had the main problem was just fornicating with women. And so, when you convert and start trying to serve the Lord, that's a hard habit to break. Man, oh no, this is tough. And then I would hear Brother Bowie say, he would say, preaching sometimes. He would say, well, see, my problem is women. My problem is women. He said, my problem is women. He said, I love women. He used to say that all the time. I don't know if he still says, I love women. He said, if it's a man that loves women more than me, I like to meet him and pity him. So, but that helped me because I knew it wasn't just me. It's over. It's not just me. This is what he's telling you here. Read 13 again.
They have no temptation taking you, but such as common to man.
He said, this ain't no unique temptation. Everybody got one temptation or another. Everybody has to deal with temptation. Even your particular temptation or some other temptation is not unique. There's no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man. It's common temptation. Everybody deal with it. You got to fight and overcome it. Serve God. Go ahead.
But God is faithful.
But God is faithful. The people who say that, what about God? Exactly. When you want to do wrong, God can help you. Go ahead.
Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
Oh, he can make a way for you to get out of it if you're looking for it. Go ahead.
But will with the temptation also make a way to escape.
But what is that temptation? It's distracting you from serving God, right? Let's go to Philippians 2.
That you may be able to bear.
That you may be able to bear. Exactly. Go to Philippians 2 now. This is a task, though. That's not serving God and not serving yourself. That's what it's about. Philippians 2. Pick it up at verse 12. Philippians 2. Go ahead and read it.
Wherefore, my beloved, that ye always obey, not in my presence only, but much more in my absence. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling.
You mean it's the work to get salvation? Exactly. You got to work it out, and you got to work out your own. I mean, I can't work yours. I can teach you about the Lord. You still got to do it. And you can't work mine. That's why he said it like that. It's about you serving God. He said, wherefore, my beloved brothers, as you have always obeyed. In other words, keep obeying. Now, that's what he told me. He said, now, keep obeying. He said, even when I'm not around you, you need to make sure you obey. What's more, in my absence, not in my presence only, when I'm around. Some people be worried about the preacher.
Right.
We hide from the preacher. What do you hide from the preacher for? You can't do nothing. And you hide from him, God sees you.
Right.
That's what you need to worry about. He said, look, now it's in my presence only, but now, much more in my absence, work out your own salvation with fear. That's what that fear is. And trembling. You should be afraid to go against God. Right. God got all the power. You don't have none. You should be afraid. Right. Go ahead, 13.
For it is God which worketh in both to will and to do of his good pleasure.
Uh-huh.
Do all things without murmuring and dispute.
Oh, you got to say that again. Do all things without murmuring and dispute. And that's another distraction. Once again, 15.
That he may be blameless and harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke, in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation.
See, you're going to be different from the people around you, too. You're going to be blameless, harmless, the sons of God, without rebuke in the midst of a crooked and perverse nation. Among what?
Among whom ye shine as a light in the world.
See, you the light in the world. You're gonna show them the way, whether they follow or not. Let's go to Deuteronomy 6, where we started that early on in the lesson. At the beginning. Told you we'd be back. Because now we're going to see the same scripture we started off with. So let's fear God and serve him. We're going to read it again. At the same time, we're going to the distractions that will keep you from fearing God and serving. Deuteronomy 6 and 1. Go ahead.
Now these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments which the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that you might do them in the land whether you go to possess it.
And people so distracted, they will do anything to say, you know what, obey God's command. And this whole Bible tells you that. That's what the Lord told his people going in there. You think it was good for them, not good for us? If they were going to get blessed by it, we can get blessed by it. God don't change. But we forgot that it's about serving God. And some people have made God about serving them, getting what they want out of it.
Yes, sir.
So he said, look, these are the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments the Lord your God commanded to teach you, that ye may do them in the land. He's on their way to the promised land, whether we go to the. And we read earlier how he said in the 7th chapter, don't even marry certain people, because that's going to distract you. Right. All of this evidence about serving God, avoid distraction. Verse 2.
That thou mightest fear the Lord thy God, keep all his statutes and his commandments.
They go there, fear. Keep all his statutes and his commandments, which what?
Which I command thee,
Go ahead.
thou and thy son, and thy son's son, all the days of thy life.
We was talking about how you got to teach your children. That's why it's a blessing. We got multiple schools now to teach the sons. And we're going to keep it going, Lord willing. Go ahead.
And thy days may be prolonged.
Skip down now to verse 12. Go ahead.
Then be well, lest thou forget the Lord.
Oh, you mean you could be with the Lord today, you could be serving God today, and you could forget the Lord? Why? He would tell you, be well, let you forget the Lord, let you do that. Didn't Joshua tell them the same thing? He said, y'all can't serve the Lord. Y'all think y'all can serve the Lord faithfully? But the Lord don't hurt you. Can you blame him? Beware lest thou forget the Lord. Go ahead.
Which brought thee forth out of the land of Egypt, from the house of bondage.
Go ahead.
Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God and serve him, and shall swear by his name.
This is where we started the lesson at, right here. Fear the Lord. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God and serve him, and shall swear by his name. But now we're going to keep going. 14.
Ye shall not go after other gods.
Oh, you mean there's some other gods we could be following too, though? We got to choose to fear the Lord and serve him, or you serving us. People say, well, I don't, I just, God know my heart. I just do Christmas I think about God. Look, it don't have nothing to do with God. Tree don't have nothing to do with God. People say, well, tree we don't worship the tree. I heard them singing to me. Right. Old Christmas tree, old Christmas tree. You put all that attention on that. That's called service. You're doing all that work. And you won't bust a grape at doing none of the Lord's holy things. You won't bust a grape. Why don't you get the leavening out your house when the Passover and a piece of unleavened bread comes? That's serving God because he told you to do it. You say, we ain't got to do that no more. Oh, but you can do the stuff the devil told you to do. That's a conflict. You serving another God. He said, look, ye shall not go after other gods of who?
Of the people which are round about you.
15.
The Lord thy God is a jealous God.
Oh, that's in the Bible too. You don't like it? Go ahead.
Among you. That the anger of the Lord thy God be kindled against thee. And destroy thee from off the face of the earth.
That's a tough guy right there. He ain't just say destroy you, look off the face of the earth. Lord will wipe you out. That's something else. Go to Luke now, to the New Testament. To the New Testament. See, sometimes, even people like us who know a little bit about serving God and keeping His commandments, we preaching that shit. Sometimes, because we doing it, we can kind of get puffed up and be thinking we somebody great because we serving God. We gonna be keeping the Sabbath. We doing this, and you get kind of puffed up against people who don't know. When it's your job to try to enlighten them and really understand you're not doing nothing that special. You just doing what everybody else should be doing. So you might be unique in the fact that most people are not doing it, but don't get puffed up because you just doing what you're supposed to do. You ain't no hero. You're doing what you're supposed to do. And that's what he's going to let you know here. Luke 17 and verse 7. Go ahead.
But which of you, having a servant plowing or feeding cattle, will say unto him by and by?
See, we ain't really, it's hard to relate to some of this stuff if you ain't got no servant. But if you have a servant, if you have even employed, you know, that's their job. That's what they do. They sign up for that. They get paid to do that. So we should understand that. That's their job. You ain't really got to, you know, it's just good to be courteous. And sometimes I think employed, but really that's their job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, which of you having a servant, so, but you still ain't going to act like they're doing something so special,
Right.
Because that's their job.
Right.
See, which of you having a servant, and he come home, and you, and plowing and feeding cattle, didn't say what?
And will say unto him by and by, when he is come from the field, go sit down to meat.
So, you know, he got further jobs to do. He got some more duty to do. So you wouldn't tell him to go, all right, you did your job, go eat. Well, you're not done. So what you tell that servant? Go ahead.
And will not rather say unto him, make ready with wherewith I may sup, and gird thyself and serve me. I have eaten and drinking, and afterward thou shalt eat and drink.
He said, then you go eat and drink. So he got to finish completing his job. Go ahead.
Do he think that thy servant, because he did the things that were commanded of him? Or not?
See, the Bible be talking like that. I mean, I think not. I think not. Because he really just did his job. But that's the moral of the story is telling us, don't get puffed up because you doing what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. So what? Likewise, what?
For likewise, when ye shall have done all those things which I commanded you, saying, we unprofitable servants, we have done which was our duty to do.
He said, that's what you should say to yourself. When you done done everything you're supposed to do, don't get puffed up. Say, I still ain't nobody. I'm an unprofitable servant. I've only done what I'm supposed to do. And that will help you keep things in perspective. Luke 21. We almost done. Luke 21. All the way down to the end of the world, brothers and sisters. Jesus is even warning us. Like this scripture right here. He's warning us. Don't get caught up, in other words. Serve God, avoid distractions. You can get knocked off. Many people get knocked off. They serve God today and they gone tomorrow. Back messing around. 21 and 24. Go ahead.
And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, shall be led away captive into all nations.
That happened to us in 70 AD. Jesus was saying this approximately 30 AD. 40 years later, this got fulfilled what he said. We got kicked out. The rest of the Israelites got kicked out the land. He was calling it though. They shall fall by the edge of the sword, shall be what again?
Carry away captive into all nations.
Shall be led captive into all nations. That lets you know Jesus called slavery. This is slavery. Led captive means slavery. All nations means you even got to get on some ships to get there, right? That's absolute. That's what happened to us. He's telling you now. That's how we know we this people. Because what he said would happen to the Israelites, the Jews, the real Jews, it happened to us. Fell by the edge of the sword, we was in our land, we got land, and then happened into all nations, and what?
And Jerusalem shall be trodden down to the Gentiles, to the towns of the Gentiles be fulfilled.
Now the Gentiles run everything. They run Jerusalem. That's why they got east over there, which is a shame. But it's all over the world. The Lord gonna fix it though, because the next thing gonna happen is Jesus gonna come back now. That's the next thing. Once they time is up, 25.
And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men hard spelling them for fear, and looking after those things which are come on the earth, how the heavens shall be shaken. They shall, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the cloud with power and great glory.
See, now this all the way down to Jesus coming now. That lets you know Jesus is associated his people being left with captive all the way down to the end to when he comes to deliver them. Now he's coming in the clouds, and that's what people don't know. Jesus is coming first and foremost. He's going to conquer the world, but he's coming to free the slaves. Go ahead.
When these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your head, for your redemption draw nigh.
It's getting close. When you see the stars falling, the sun and moon get dark, it's a wrap. Go ahead.
And he spake to them in parable. Behold the fig tree and all the trees, when they now shoot forth, you see and know of your own self that summer is now nigh.
Like we know it's at hand now because trees starting to bloom again. And we know this is at the time of the Lord's New Year, and that's when the weather gets nice and sunny. New Year, God's New Year, not in January. It's right at this time. Go ahead.
So likewise when you see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand.
But what he talked about, just like you know summer is near, when you see the signs that he gave you, know that he's about to come and establish the kingdom of God. Like kingdom come. You're not going to heaven either. 32.
Very I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away until all be fulfilled.
So we know it's close because we see it, and the generation seeing it can't be gone until it all is fulfilled. Go ahead.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away.
Heaven and earth shall pass away, he said, but my words shall not pass away. Verse 34.
And take heed to yourself.
And now pay attention to this. All the way down to the end, he's warning that all this trouble going to happen. You're going to see signs, and he coming back. And in the meantime, he's telling you, look, take heed to yourself. That's really what this whole lesson is about. Serve God, avoid distractions. That's saying, take heed to yourself that you don't get caught up and distracted from doing what you're supposed to do. Jesus telling you. See, if it was cutting out, we ain't got to worry. Why tell somebody to take heed to themselves? Just tell them they say it, they ain't got to worry about it. Don't worry about it. You good. He got you if you do what he say. Take heed to yourselves. Go ahead.
And take heed to yourself, lest at any time in your heart be overcharged with fighting and drunkenness, the cares of this life. And
go ahead.
So that they come upon you unaware.
You think that's something? Jesus, you better pay attention now. Take heed to yourself. You don't get caught up. You get caught up in just living like the rest of the world. You just worried about eating and drinking, getting drunk, having a good time that you used to do. He said, look, I'll sneak up on you. You won't be on my team. I'll sneak up on you. You won't even know what's going on. You know, you don't have it. You got to stay on point. Take heed to yourself. They said, anytime your heart, you said, the Lord know my heart. You know your heart is go crazy. He said, take heed to yourself. He said, anytime your hearts be overcharged, you get caught up, get overwhelmed, and you caught up with surfing. That means you just caught up. Only thing you're concerned about is eating and drinking and having a good time. Surfing and drunkenness. We know what that is.
And the cares of this life.
And the cares of this life, just like the thorn, the seed that fell among the thorns we read in Mark 4 earlier. The cares of this life. So you distracted from doing what you should do, and the Lord gonna catch you. He gonna sneak up on you, and you're gonna be caught in it. Go ahead.
And so that they come upon you unaware.
Go ahead, 35.
Where this snare shall it come on all them that dwell on the face of the whole earth.
It's gonna shock the whole world. Jesus gonna kill up practically everybody. And we trying to be on the outside of that. We trying to be on his side. People don't know how this thing gonna end. We headed for World War in a little while. Well, go ahead. Read 36.
Watch ye therefore and pray always, that ye may be accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass, and stand before the Son of Man.
Watch and pray. You can overcome all of it and be around when he comes. Last place, Hebrews 12. All this lets you know, really, what Joshua told us. You got to make up your mind to serve the Lord and overcome this thing because the Lord is not playing. Like, and you say, well, that was Joshua in the Old Testament. He told you how dangerous, because Joshua said it. He said, the Lord will turn and hurt you. Now you said that was the Old Testament. Well, let me end it with just in the New Testament, and he's basically going to tell you the same thing. If you don't do this thing right, the Lord going to hurt you. And people are lying. Preachers don't be lying tomorrow and say, you ain't got to do nothing because you got grace. Look, real grace. Jesus came with a free gift. This just gives you a chance to do right. That's all real grace does. And you will not die for what you've done already if you repent and believe in the Lord and serve Him. Hebrews 12:27. Go ahead.
And this word, yet once more, signifies the removal of those things that are shaken, as the things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain.
That's right. He's talking about all the shaking like it shook back in Moses' time, but it's going to shake round and roll when Jesus comes. Go ahead.
Wherefore we receive in the kingdom which cannot be moved.
Oh, that's what we waiting on. We waiting on the kingdom that's going to last forever when Jesus comes. Thy kingdom comes. Wherefore we receive the kingdom which cannot be moved. Let us do what?
Let us have grace.
Oh, let us grace for you, right? Let's see what kind of grace we got, though. Let us have grace. What kind of grace? Do nothing. We ain't got to do nothing. Jesus did all the grace to tell us about. Let's see what he said. Let us have grace what?
Whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear.
Same thing we've been reading all the lessons, right? This is the type of grace you got, brothers. Grace says give you a chance. You know grace don't do away with that mortgage, but you got grace spirit. I wish it did, but it don't work that way. I used all 15 days every month. Where's the grace out? But you got to pay that mortgage. Still. He said, let us have grace whereby we may serve God acceptably with reverence and godly fear. And if you think, well, he's just saying that, let's show you that it's a little stick behind the carrot. Verse 29.
For our God is a consuming fire.
God will burn you up. Hope you got some understanding in Jesus. We're going to have some announcements.
Move the counter. Peace and happy Sabbath, family. So I pray that the eyes of your understanding was enlightened by today's lesson. If you have any questions about any parts of the lesson or the Bible in general, please join the Q&As that start shortly. Weekly Q&As are streamed every Wednesday at 7 p.m. The conference and ID numbers are located at the top of the weekly lesson plan. You can watch this and other lessons from all the various study classes, which is streamed via our website at thekingdomcom7.com, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and multiple other streaming venues. Let's pray for all the brothers traveling and hazarding their lives preaching the gospel today, as well as our sick and our shut-in. If you or anyone you know is ready to be baptized, please sign the baptismal sheet at the podium or speak to Brother Patrick. Following is the dress code. All clothing should be modest in appearance, nothing tight-fitting, overly baggy, or sagging. Nothing revealing should be worn. Shorts are not permissible. Brothers remove hats or any other head covering. Sisters should wear a head covering such as a hat or a scarf in accordance to 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verses 1 through 7. If your young child becomes noisy or distracted during the lesson, causing disturbance to other members, please remove him or her to the area in the back of class. Any tithes of free will offering should be put in an envelope and placed in the offering box. Okay, we got 15 days before Passover, family. Pray for our strength as we pray for your strength. Until next Sabbath, peace.
Peace. Right. Like I said, we got Passover coming up, and unleavened bread, and we'll be off and running. And we speaking of that, we got this ball coming this Tuesday, because this Tuesday is the Lord's New Year. Tuesday night actually is Wednesday. So we're gonna be celebrating, and it's a fundraiser for the school because we did just don't know what it takes to run a school. I understand fully now. One person, when we started school, is one person knew what it took to run a school, and it wasn't me and nobody else, but that sister back over there, Sister LaRon, the principal. She knew all that it took. I was ignorant. I know not. And the bottom line be money, money, money. They spend money every day. Every day. Got a credit card on 5. I don't know. We should own part of Apple every day. But that's what it takes. I mean, you trying to educate children, you need all kind of stuff. And then you need to get it again. Paper, all kind of stuff. Just on repeat. So, but it's a blessing that the Lord blessed us. We had that's like children out of the future. So that's what we have fundraising. I didn't like fundraisers. We didn't even have fundraising until we got to school. But I knew when I was at the Israel of God, I was over the little school that we had briefly there. And they had 2 things. I was over the school, and then they had a fundraising committee. I was over that too. So I understood it already. So this is our biggest fundraiser, pretty much. We have once a year. This will be the 4th time in New Year's Ball. So it's going good. So, but speaking of that, you got a little controversy about the calendar. There's only really a handful of people that kind of got confused about it. So I want to read a couple of scriptures on that, and it's going to take us into overtime, but we ain't got nothing else to do. And that is, I read it last night. So I want to read, because we got to understand how God gave us to count time. And it's math. I like to say it's simple math. I used to like math in school. But ironically, I didn't like science too much, but I learned later that a lot of people like math and science because they really do go hand in hand. They go hand in hand. The science is in the Bible. So, like, understanding how the sun and the moon operate, that's science. And then some people might think it's bad. It's bad to recognize science. Science in the Bible. Daniel and his people, they said they was understood science. You read the book of Daniel. So, Abib is the Lord's New Year. And we've been doing this the same way for years, knowing that Abib starts in a season. It's not per se just counting, not just numbers. It's science. You got to follow the science. You got to follow the sun and the moon. You can't just count without understanding. So, and that's one thing I knew I had to figure out when I was going to teach on my own. I had to figure it out for myself. And evidently, some brothers, because about 6-7 years ago, a brother I've been knowing for years, he called me and said I was upset at him. And he'd been doing it for years. Then all of a sudden, he said, I can't do it no more. I said, you can't do what? I can't do 13 months. Because, it don't make no sense. I told him, I said, look, even if it's wrong, you can't fix it. So what you get ready to do? You already been doing this for 12, 15 years. I don't know how long. Even on your own as a teacher, you was doing it before then. So even if you try to think you're going to change something, you only changing what you didn't receive, what we already been doing. It's already in play. It's just like you get old and you say, I can't believe, I don't know for sure if that's my birthday. But look, you got to go by. But then you have to take somebody's word. It's just like the only way we know what day is what is when we got old enough. Somebody told us. But we got 7 days in a week. These are the days. This is the first day. I got confused when I was young about what day is what. My mother finally had to break down. I said, wait a minute. Y'all talking about Monday is the first day. Then I hear Sunday is the first day. Which one? My mother made it plain. She said, well, Monday is the first work day. But actually, Sunday is the first day of the week. And that lets you know that people knew that Saturday was the 7th day even back then. And they just had everybody going to church on Sunday, the first day. So the bottom line is, stuff been in play before we get here, brothers and sisters. And it started way before us. And God been working with it, so it must be good. That's how we all came into it. It's been in place. So Abib must come at this year, at this season, at this time of year, when the new year, when things start coming to life again, particularly when the days start to get longer than the nights. Because again, it's science, so it rotates. So we're going to start off and show you what the Lord gave us to follow in Genesis 1. And I got a little chart here just to show, just the, everybody can say stuff, but I want to put it on paper before disclosure how it worked, how it's been working. And this is just basically 7 years to show how it worked. Because you have, like I said, people say they, start pointing the finger about 7 years ago. Start pointing the finger, but y'all wrong. Y'all got 13 months and had everybody confused. I had all kinds of people calling. 13 months, never heard of it. Yeah, that's because you didn't understand the science. But it's been going on this way. And then I explained to him, I said, well, have you heard of 13 hours in a day? See, the Lord centered everything around 12. That's why he said the balance of the people according to the 12 tribes of Israel, according to the sons of Jacob, actually, what Deuteronomy 32, verse 8 said. He centered everything around it, but it's not static, it's moving, so it will rotate. But it revolves around 12. So that's why you got to understand it's not just math, it's science. Look at it in Genesis 1 and verse 14. Genesis 1 and 14. This is what the Lord gave us to govern the numbers. Go ahead.
God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night. And let there be for signs and for seasons and for days and for years.
So he made some lights to divide the days, to separate the days and the time period, to calculate time for it. He gave us some lights in the sky, and we know that as the sun and the moon. Keep reading.
And let them be for lights on the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth.
Let them be for lights in the firmament. That's the sky. He put the firmament out there, separate the waters from the waters early on in this chapter. But he said he put lights out there. Let them be for lights in the firmament of heaven to do what?
And it was so.
To give light upon earth. It was so. 16.
And God made 2 great lights.
2 great lights. Not rocket science. It's science, but not rocket science. 2 great lights we know right off. That's the sun and the moon. Not hard. God made 2 great lights. What they do?
The greater light to rule the day.
That's the sun.
And the lesser light to rule the night.
That's the moon. They work as a team too. You need both of them. I mentioned last night, you can read on your own because I don't want to do the full bloom 2 lessons, but you read Joshua 10 on your own. And we would say that all the time. Joshua was killing people, and he told the sun to stand still. And that's what we would always say it when we talked about it. But one day, the Lord had me actually go read it and pay attention to it, and I paid attention. I said, oh, he said the sun and the moon. Because he couldn't stop one without the other. He didn't want the sun to go down. He wanted, because he was on the killing spree. He was killing those Canaanites. He didn't want the sun to go down, but being that the sun and the moon work in conjunction, he had to stop both of them. It would have been out of whack. So both of them stopped if you read it on your own, Joshua 10. So he stopped time basically for a day. And that's what he did. It tells you about a whole day, 24 hours. So basically, it's about sundown. The sun about to go down. He wants the more light. So the Lord stopped it. He didn't stop it for a few hours. The Lord just stopped it for a whole 24 hours. And it went down the next day like it normally did. That's the miraculous stuff. But it tells you how it works, brothers. So he got 2 great lights. The great light rule today, that's like the rule the star. What else?
He made the stars also.
And he made the stars also. Sun, moon, stars. They all work together. 17.
And God set them in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth.
And
to rule over the day and over the night.
And to rule over the day and over the night. We know it's a new day because of what the great light do to the sun. It go up and go down. It rise and it set every day. So we know it's a new day. That's the God said. But then he said something else. The moon do its part because the moon help us calculate seasons. But you need both of them. Verse 4, where you at? You read 18? You finish that.
And to divide the light from the darkness, And God saw that it was good.
19, read that right
And
quick.
the evening and the morning was the fourth day.
And he did all that on the 4th day, so that lets you know you can't start your, people try to start a week with the moon, but you got to start with the moon, and that's how you get to the Sabbath. That's good. That's that floating Sabbath stuff. That don't make no sense, because the moon was created, it was already days, right? The moon didn't start, the sun didn't start it. No, that's the 4th day when it was created. It was created on the 4th day. So, but back to 3:14 one more time, because we saw once again what these lights are for as well when it comes to calculating time. Go ahead.
And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night.
Uh-huh.
Let them be for signs and for seasons.
Oh, they also for signs and they for seasons. So you got to pay attention to seasons. That's what he give them for. Don't we have seasons today?
Yes, sir.
The seasons change. The lights operate that. Let them be for signs and for seasons, whatever.
And for days and years.
Days, and then we got years. See, we think that years are automatically just 12 months. But a year is a whole cycle of the sun, really.
Right.
We think it's just automatic. No, 12 months is the anchor to it. 12 months is the anchor, but a year is from one point to another point.
So,
Period. That's what you have to understand. See, and it don't always line up like you think. You know what? It'd be real easy, brothers and sisters, if you could make weeks fit into months perfectly, right? That would be nice. But it don't work like that, do it?
Nope.
So we would on the average, we would say, well, a month is about 4 weeks. Yeah, but you still got to remind it every time.
no, sir.
It don't fit perfect.
No, sir.
So it don't line up. Because the moon got this cycle, which go about 30 days. Man, don't pay attention to it. They made their months up. But the Lord's months are calculated by the moon. That's how you get the moon. That's how you get month. The word month comes from moon. That's how you get it. The moon got a cycle that it do for every approximately 30 days. And it keep doing it. The sun got a cycle that it do every day, day in and day out, and it actually run a cycle that takes a whole year to get through it. So, but that's the science behind it. But now, let's look at, let's go to Exodus this time, Exodus 12. So I said this last night too. You see, you have to pay attention to the science, because if you just try to count numbers, you will mess up.
Yes, sir.
Even though the Lord gave you an anchor with the numbers with the children of Israel. You know, but the children of Israel didn't come till way later in Genesis. So what was going on before then? You still had the science. You still had it. Then he gave you the anchor where it revolves around 12. He showed you that that's how he set it up. It revolves around 12.
Right.
So, and we're going to read it in a minute. Jesus mentioned about it being 12 hours in a day. And I'm going to show you how some brothers messed up just trying to count 12 when it came to days. 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in the night. But we'll get to that. Let's look at what I say, Exodus 12.
Yes, sir.
Exodus 12 and 1. Go ahead.
And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months.
Okay, so now, when they was in Egypt, everybody know that this month was at this time of year. And the name of it, we're going to find out, is Abib, which has to do with growing stuff, when stuff is coming back to life. That's how we know this is the new year. Like you said, the trees, everything stopped blooming again. Everything becomes new. You're coming out of the winter where everything had died. So you're getting the newness again. That's what makes it the new year. And what makes that happen is the sun and the moon rotation. Now, at this time of year, the days start to get longer than the nights. It even out, and that's what's called the equinox. And that just means equal time. And what's the equinox telling you? It's telling you the time of year where it's exactly the same amount of time in the day and in the night. You got exactly 12 hours in the day and 12 hours in the night. Exactly. It's equal. But it don't stay equal. That's the key. People have a problem with being flexible. God is flexible. Stuff is moving. They have a problem with understanding flexibility, like it got to be stagnant, it got to stay there. It's not always exactly 12 hours in the day and the night. Matter of fact, it's only 2 times in a year, going up and going down. At this time of year, when it's on the days on the upswing, the days get longer than the night, and then about what they call summer, about midsummer, it started going back down, and the night started catching back up, and it even out at the fall when we had a Feast of Tabernacles. That's leading you to the end of the year. It's equal again. That's what they call that, the autumn equinox or the fall equinox. So you got 2 times because it's rotating. You got 2 times where it's exactly, and those are important times because again, that's what governs things. That's what lets you know the beginning, and that's what lets you know you at the end when you at the fall. That's why the Lord got the feast in the first month, and then he got the feast in the 7th month. It's like he don't even get about the last month, even though they there. He like, that's the end right there. He completed it. Because he gonna complete things in 7. But now, look at Exodus 12:2. He said, this month to be the beginning of months. It's to be the first month of the year to you. So you got to start at that time. It's the first month to you. That means if somebody else has it, they own it. If you got to say it's the first month of the year to you, somebody else got there. Like right now, somebody else said January was the first month, but that's not to you. Ours is at this time. Let's go to Deuteronomy. You read it too, right?
Yeah.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 16. Deuteronomy 16. And actually, both of these scriptures, I did them backwards how they on here, but they own this handout that Abib is the beginning. That's what I call this lesson. Abib is the beginning. That's the only month that the Lord named. 16:1. Deuteronomy 16:1. What did he say?
Serve the month of Abib. Keep the Passover to the Lord thy God.
So he tells you to observe the month of Abib. But how do you know when Abib is supposed to be? Well, the science lets you know that Abib, which means really literally, it means when corn is coming, when things start to grow, and that's when you get past the equal time. When the days start to get longer. Before that, you was in the winter because the nights were long. That's when they came up with Christmas and celebrating the winter solstice. The solstice is at the lowest point on both ends. We don't know that, everybody talk about, of course, they made celebration of Christmas to coincide with the winter solstice because that's what it's about. It ain't about Christ's birthday. But also it's the summer solstice. Don't nobody talk about that. Again, it's 2 points. But those are, so you got the equinox, which is when it's even, 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. And then you got high and low points, those are the solstices. So in around December 23rd, that's when the nights are as long as they will ever be. And the days are the shortest they're going to be. Sometimes a day you have about 9 hours of sunlight. And that means you have 15 hours of nighttime. It'd be dark. It'd be dark. You can't even get off from work. It's dark. Dark early. But when you get to the solstice, that's the end of that. But it don't change right away. But they started to celebrate because years ago they recognized, they said, oh, right here, the days started getting longer. The night's still running, but they saw that the days started picking up. They were like, oh, let's celebrate the sun. It's coming back. But it's still, the night's still running. And it runs it all the way to the equal point at this time of year, which this is what we recognize as the new year. So that's what he said here. He said, observe the month of Abib and keep the Passover to the Lord. So you got to know when Abib is to keep the Passover and the feast day. That's the beginning. That's when you get to the equal point. You start to celebrate these feasts, right? Now, let's go to John, the 11th chapter. So instead of recognizing that The Lord's year are from time to time. That's why the Bible said time, a half a time, and a divide of time. They from point A to point Z. And the months keep them anchored. They revolve around the months, but still, you gotta use the science for the season. So in other words, the Passover got to be at a particular season. And if you just count, you'll be off. If you just go use the math, no science, you'll be off. That's what actually, if you understand how the Arabs do things in the East, they got a calendar. They got a straight lunar calendar. Lunar means what? Moon. That's all it means. We used to say we got lunar calendar. It might be on our pieces, but actually it's lunar solar. It's a combination. You need the sun and the moon. Solar means the sun. So the Arabs have a straight lunar calendar. In other words, they use the moon and they just run 12s. They just count 12 for their year. So that means their seasons don't stay the same. See, man ain't got this, even though they didn't use the Lord's way of doing it, they still got it down to the science with knowing the season. And it would never snow, according to man, the way things set up, it would never snow in August, July. It will never snow because they got the months lined up with the season. That's how the Lord had it. So the Passover is at the beginning. That's the first month. So that's the beginning of the new year. When you get to the equal point and you start getting fresh again, stuff start growing again, that's when you're going to have the Passover. That's why it's called in the first month, 14th day of the first month. That's when you're going to have the Passover. Then you're going to go a couple more months, you're going to have Pentecost. That's always in the summer. I'm saying all that to show if you look up Ramadan, that's what the Arabs say. Holy day they came. I tell you, that's their holy day. They celebrate it every year. But because they don't have a calendar set up around the season, don't you know Ramadan will start off, like, I don't know when it is. We can look it up. It could be in June. They just finished it last week. So we in April. So if you watch a few years from now, Ramadan will be in January. Ramadan will go around the calendar. It'll be in all seasons. That's what they want to do. That's fine. The Lord didn't intend for you to do that. He did. You got to stay everything in the season. The Passover in the beginning of the year, the tabernacles in the end of the year. You can read that. That's how you got to set up. Tabernacles at the end. It got to be in what we call the fall, because now we're on the downswing. We're at that other equal point where it even out again, and now the nights are getting long, and the days getting short. It's on the downswing then. That's how the Lord got it set up. That's why you know you got to stay there. But look at this. What I said, John 11, we're going to read that one verse 13. 9. John 11 and 9. Look at what Jesus said, and I'll tell you what we experienced back in the day, how I knew this to be true. Go ahead.
Jesus answered, are there not 12 hours in a day?
Uh-huh.
If any man walk in the day, he stumbleth not, because he seeth the light of this world.
So now Jesus says something, and it's rhetorical, but we know it's true. He said, are there not 12 hours in a day? See, the Lord set everything up around the 12 tribes of Israel. Jesus even had 12 apart. That's a lesson recently, the significance of the 12 tribes. Everything centers around 12. But that don't mean it got to stay 12 without moving, but it centers around 12. That's the anchor. You can't get away from that. But you still got science to govern it. He said, are there not 12 hours in a day? Which would equally mean that 12 hours in the night, right? Because it's 24 to make a whole day, right? 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. Now, I'm going to show you what some of the brothers did in the 80s when I was kind of new in the word. They took this and ran with it. They left the science out of it. And they went with only the math. You know what they would do? Number brothers. I remember it because when I found out, I was shocked by it. They kept the Sabbath 12 hours. You know, they used that scripture, they're not 12 hours in the day, and they kept the Sabbath from 6 p.m. Friday. All seasons, they kept it 6 p.m. Friday. They said the Sabbath started at 6 p.m., and they went by that scripture, where it's 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. So they kept the Sabbath 6 p.m. to 6 p.m. That wasn't good. And when they told me about it, I was new. I was like, And brother was trying to get me to do something, do some work. And he said, we're going to do it after the Sabbath. This is in the summertime. He said, we're going to do it after the Sabbath. I said, okay, cool. He said, so we're going to meet at 6. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, 6? Sabbath ain't going to be over. This is July.
Right.
Sabbath won't be over at 6. So I said, no, the Sabbath won't be. He said, oh, brother. He tried to correct, oh, brother, there's 12 hours in the day and 12, it was hard back in the day. It's 12 hours in the day and 12 hours in the night, brother. And that's when I got wind up. I'm like, huh? It confused me. I said, no, Brother Bush. I said, what's up with this? And he repeated it. He said, yeah, it's 12 hours. I said, okay. And so then I found out, like the brother was there, when Zion come down there, he'd take the same thing because he was there. Me and him and some other brothers wasn't going for it. I was like, that don't make no sense. It's still light. So I told the brother, I said, I don't even understand what you're saying. But I'll be here when it get dark. Right. That's all I know. I'll be here when it get dark. But the problem they had, this scripture said it, right? Are there not 12 hours in a day? But you can't avoid the science of it. You still got to follow the sun and the moon because it rotates. So I can't act like I'm going to make the days exactly 12 hours according to my liking to be convenient. That probably was more convenient, right? No. I got to follow the science, so I gotta wait for the sun to go down to know the Sabbath start, and I gotta wait till it go down again to know when the Sabbath is over. It's that cut and dry, and because it don't stay that way, and that's the key. So when brothers jumped up and saying, "How they got 13 months? They got 13," that let me know you didn't understand what a year really meant. It's just the average is 12. But it's governed by the science. You got to get back to Abib, which is always in the spring when things start to grow. So that let me know, like you've been doing this long, you didn't know that? I said, look, if you don't do it this way, you're going to be keeping Passover in January. I'm talking about in short order. I told the brother this 6-7 years ago. He was like, I got to figure out some other way. But you're going to figure it out some other way, why you don't even mess with this? Because we already got to figure it out. You've been doing it. We got to figure it out. This has been going on for centuries. This ain't nothing new. So that shows you can't just count days by saying, I'm going to start at the time on the clock and go. Same thing with months. The months don't rotate. So, and the problem is people change and stuff. They got their own issues. I'm not even going to get into that. I'm going to get into show you these months right quick and we're going to end it. So I went and did some new, show how the new moons came over the last 6-7 years. And how we've been calculating it. Because what I found out, some people were saying, and this is real hypocritical. Some people, when they say, oh, you can't go 13 months. I said, well, why is it 13 hours in the day? You got to get to Abib. And then I turned around and found out they was going 13 months the next year, but wasn't saying nothing to nobody. I'm like, I know they have to, but that's going to be back in the wintertime, keeping the Passover. So how are you trying to point the finger and you doing the same thing when ain't nobody looking? That's what you call shady business. So look, this is how we've been doing it. I went back to 2019, so it's spelled out simply, and this is how Abib has started. Abib is the first month. You got to know when that comes, right? So, and you can look up new moons. See, these are all new moons for the whole year. For multiple years, all you got to do is Google it. Now, we go back to Jerusalem time, so it'll be a little time difference in some areas. The world go by Greenwich, England. That's where they, that's the mean for the world. That's where they calculate everything at for the world. But Greenwich, England is actually 2 hours behind Jerusalem. So it's a little different. And then again, we are 6, depending on daylight saving time, we 5 to 6 hours behind Jerusalem. So that's the time we use, but that usually don't affect nothing too much unless it's close to the end. So look at this, brother. So in 2019, that's where we're going to start. The year started, our year started, and some of these brothers that's jumping up trying to come up with something new, they was doing it this way. That's what let you know when people change, they got to have a clear-cut reason why they change. They just stirring stuff up for no reason. And they confusing people. So 2019, the new year, and we got to compare this to man calendar because that's what we really go by. That's the other thing. It gets confusing, but that's what we under. We don't know nothing but April, May, so we got to tell you according to the Lord's calendar compared to man's calendar. So on April 6th, that was when ABF started. That's really April 5th at sundown. That's why I got at the bottom. God's day started in the evening, so the days above begin in the evening before. But anyway, that's the new year. 2019, it was April 6th. That was the day. Okay. Beginning of ABF, which means we celebrate the Passover that year around April 19th, 20th. 14 days later. Okay, and you go down the list. The moons come every month. The new moon comes. That's what you go by. You got a new moon, you got the first quarter, you got the full moon. That's the middle of the month every time. Some brothers going by the full moon. That's a mistake, but we ain't dealing with that. Then you got the last quarter, and then you back to the new moon. The moon running cycle. It's doing the same thing. It's like the sun do the same thing every day. The moon do the same thing every month. The sun do the same thing every day for so many days until you get a year. So, April 6th, right? Then the second new moon, 30 days later, was on May 5th. Then the third month started, the third new moon was on approximately 30 days later. It goes back each time because man's months, and we gauge it according to man's month, are longer. Like May got 31 days in it, so that's an extra day involved in when you count, right? So that's why it backs up to June 4th, and it keeps going back like that. By the time you got to June, by the time you got July, it was July the 4th. That's the 4th month, 5th month. And I meant to highlight the 7th month. I'll do that later. Because this is so important. When you get to the 7th month, you actually got a holy day. So it got to be timed out right. The trumpets, the memorial of the trumpet, wasn't meant to be had in the summertime in August. We never had that in August. That's still the summertime. Mm-hmm. It, at the completion, September means second. So it's going to be at the end of September. Sometime in September or going into October because of the new moon. Never been in August. It's a harvest festival. All of these are. When you get the tabernacle, it's a harvest festival. So, the 5th month in 2019, August 2nd. 6th month, it still was in August, the new moon, because we go by the new moon, we ain't counting man's day. 30 days later, it was still in August. It was August 31st. That's the 6th month. 7th month was September, began September 29th. That's the day we celebrate the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets, right? 8th month, October 29th. It's a 30-day increment. It fluctuates because man day months are longer, so longer, except then we get to February, that's a real short one, so it always overlaps. But we go on down 9th month, that's where November comes from. The word November comes from the word 9. So even though they made it the 11th month now, originally they knew it was the 9th month. They knew September, even though they made it the 9th month now, that's why we got it 9/29. But originally, September comes from the word 7. It's the 7th month. That's what we got. So, same thing with December means 10, so forth. Yep. So, 10th month, December 27th. 11th month, January 26th. It backs up. 12th month started on February 24th. Because, of course, February, it depends on when the new moon falls. Then in February, January got an extra day and it got 31 days. So it keeps backing up on man's calendar. That's the only way I can tell you when to keep the New Year's ball. I gotta tell you April 9th. Because I say come on the first day of AB, when nobody know when to show up. We don't have it. But we get there. But look, then that was the end of the year, 12 months. So it was 12. So it revolved around 12. But check this out. So you went from the 12th month in 2019 that began on February 24th, and you go right to 2020, the new year, AB started on March 25th, right? So you in season. AB got to be in the season. And we went on down 20, you read the rest, you go down 2020, and you got down to the 12th month, and it was February 13. Now notice from year to year, it backs up 11 days when you do the moon. See, and that's why if you're going to stay in AB, you're going to end up going to the next new moon, or you're going to be out of whack. Just like again, the days don't stay 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. Didn't Jesus say? But it rotates. When you get in the summer, the days are 13 hours. Everybody gonna say, but no, they're not. I had a brother try to say it. Well, how do we know that? He tried to challenge that. The brothers get a little understanding. They think they scientists. I just know how some of it works. But I know some brothers straight up science. Even brother at the end of God, I saw this debate some brothers had with them about 5 minutes. That's what, like I said, he been doing it. His daddy was doing it. I learned stuff from his father. His father did. He been doing this stuff, dealing with NASA for years, understanding the science of it. I don't even know why he debated with them Jays, though. They call them ghetto stuff. Some of them ghetto stuff. So look, just pay attention to the 12th month for briefly, how the 12th month in 2019, it started on, and this is the moon. You can look these moons, you can go look the new moon. You put in new moon for February 2020, and you're going to come up with this. Google it. See, this ain't stuff that I just put on paper you can't back up. You can Google it and find out. These how the moons work. So when you got to 2020, you lose 11 days. It's backing up 11 days on man's calendar. So eventually, you're going to have to go to another new moon to make sure you are in season, because that's what it's about. It's about the season. That's when you got AB. And when it run over to reconcile what the sun and the moon is doing, that's what they do. So you got 2021. So you left 2020 to 13, February 13, and you went to 2021. Well, you missed something. AB started on March 14th. So we still within the season. But now we're going to be in trouble if something don't happen. So when you go down and we trace it down, notice when you got to the 12th month, 2021, that month, the new moon came on February 2nd, probably February 1st, but you still got to wait for the sun. See, we know what time the new moon comes. All this stuff is calculated now. The sun and the moon do the same thing every day and every month, and it don't change, so you can even see in advance now because of the technology. So look, 2021, the new moon for the 12th month was February 2nd. So it backed up again. Okay, so now, if you don't have ABIP, if you go to ABIP, if you would have went to ABIP to start 2022, you see what day it would have been on? It would have been on March 4th. You're getting out of whack now. So that's when it went to the next new moon. So I don't care how brothers say it. It's semantics. If you skip the moon or whatever you want to call it to stay near the equinox, you still count 13 new moons. That's the hypocrisy of it. Brother was saying, y'all going 13 months. Ain't no 13 months. I said, why you got 13 hours? But then they turned around and did it, but when nobody did it. So we did it this year, 2021. Half that extra month, which we call Adar, it started on 3/4. So Abib was still after the equinox. Because you've been too soon when you go, if you start your year on March 4th, you still off. You still in the winter season per se, because the days still haven't even caught up with the nights. Haven't even passed the equal point. Even the Pope understands that. They got a calculation for Easter to keep Easter in the spring, even though it's a pagan day. They know how to keep it where they want it. And they made their own calculation. They didn't want to do like yours. They use the full moon. But you know what they do? They use, and this is a shame we got to go through this, because people been celebrating Easter all their life, and they never stop one time to say, how you get to Easter, a priest? They just did it, right? They figured they knew. Then nobody even questioned the fact that Easter is on different days every year, right? Nobody even questioned that. Why? Because they want to make sure it's in the spring. They're not putting it on days. So you can look Easter up, see how they calculated using the equinox, but they use the full moon. The first full moon past the equinox. The first Sunday on the first full moon on or after the equinox. If you got Easter. After the full moon, after the equinox, or if it's on the equinox, they arrive with it. If that full moon falls exactly on the equinox, which is always around March 16th, between 16th and the 24th. Always. That's the evening. All you got to do is look it up. It's going to show you, even in Jerusalem, there were 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of nighttime. And it starts to go up from there. So that's why it was a month at 3/4, it went down to 13. At 13 moon, you can start AB up there. You're going to be out of whack. Even if you say, well, I'm going to start it there, that's going to mess you up in the long run. But next year, don't you know it's going to be in February? AB, that's out of whack. And it's going to keep going back. And it go back quick. See, man not following what God got, but man got the seasons down. Even to the fact that it was a leap year, a day in February. This is a leap year, right? They got it down to the science. They ain't doing it right, but they understand the science, how to keep the seasons with the months, so it don't run them up. So that's why it went back to 4/2 when you got to 2022. It went to 4/2. So that was Abib on April 2nd, because you had to get to the equal 12 hours in the day, 12 hours in the night. Beyond that. And you can't just start 12 hours in the day. You can't start on that day. You got to wait on the moon. So you're not going to the new moon after that. So you just can't start it even the night in the middle of a month. It's just like even when the new moon comes, we know what time it comes. You can see what time it comes. So when the new moon comes at, 10 in the morning. Okay, you still gotta wait till sundown, because that day already started. That's the last day of that month that you in. And then at sundown, then you start the first day of the next month after the new moon. So you still wait on the sign. So again, you see 4/2, right? And then you see 2023. Now, we get it again because, so basically, to stay within the equal 12 hours in a day, 12 hours in a month in Abib, keep Abib straight, it's every 3 years, and once in a while it's 2, because they go quick. So it was again. And the point is, somebody else showed you each moon like this, they do something like this to stay, and they might see it, or else they're going to be infected. So I don't know why somebody would point the finger at somebody, they doing the same. They trying to come up with a different way to do it, but they doing the same thing. They're trying to point the finger. How can you point the finger at somebody and you was just doing it yourself? Look, brothers, if I've been sitting here teaching this for 10, 15 years, I've been teaching some 10, 15 years. Even if I said, oh man, I was teaching it wrong, I need to really just apologize and shut up. Yep. I don't need to be saying, man, my teaching was wrong. But I've been teaching. Should I take some responsibility? Absolutely. I need to be like, well, I'm sorry, y'all. I messed up. I'm going to read right here. I need to just go somewhere and sit down and tell them, my teacher taught me back. And they don't know nothing. Boy, you was just teaching it. Well, that don't make no sense. So you just keep on going. And again, like at the end of 2023, we did it again going into this year, which is 2024, because it's going to get out of whack. And you can't just do it a year by year basis. It's a bigger system than that. Because something's going to be messed up on the other end anyway. So even if you follow it, brothers and sisters, like if you go to the 7th month and read across, all those are sometime in September, the 7th month, or in early October, because that's when the trumpets is supposed to be. And you're going into the last feast. I have never celebrated a trumpets in August. You got a problem already. You're getting out of whack. So, 2023, now you could have said, you was a little distant from, but you could have said, well, we started the new year 2024. Some people did it, and they moved the extra day. But really, it started at 3:10. The new moon was actually on March 9th. And then you waited till March 10th at sundown because it was already into March 9th. So you wait till March 10th at sundown. All these dates on here revert back to the day evening before is when it actually started. So this new moon right here for this year, at the end of 2023, the new year started March 10th at sundown. So that's why we end up on where we at today on April 10th started, because you was gonna be out of whack. Now somebody that started, I know some brothers did, they started their year around March 10th or 12th. They just said, we started the year. Okay, do it next year. Keep that same image. Because then next year, your new year, if you start on March 10th this year, some people did, that means you push all these down. You push all these down. That means your new year next year will be at the last month of our year this year. It's going to be on March the 1st. And you backed up way, you too far before it. And then your new year the year after that will be February 18th. You would never catch up. Only way you catch up is pass a moon and go to the next one, which is what somebody was accusing us of doing. So I hope that makes some sense. But I done kept you long enough, so we're going to end it on that note and stand up and face the room.
Let us pray. Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done
on earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
and forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
and lead us not into temptation,
But deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Praise the Lord. For he is good. For his mercy endures forever. Praise the Lord God of Israel. For he is good. For his mercy endures forever. These things we pray in Jesus' name. The King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and the Lion of the tribe of Judah. Amen. Hallelujah. 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 In Jesus' name. Amen.